Chapter 70. God, a 4 or 5-year-old child, actually threw out a brawny man and a peak profound stage man. How is this possible? This time, no one dares to block the two's path. A lazy and leisurely smile hangs on Mu Yan's face from beginning to end. Holding Xiao Bao's hand, they leisurely walk towards the direction of the Colosseum. Even though she's smiling, her clear-as-water eyes are slowly tainted with a bone-chilling chill. "Miss, I'm sorry. This leads to the backstage of the Colosseum. Ordinary guests are not allowed to enter." Mu Yin and Xiao Bao are stopped by a black-clothed ghost envoy at the intersection of the passageway. Ghost City's Colosseum is a place brimming with blood, violence, and business opportunities. The beast in a beast fight doesn't just refer to strange beasts and spirit beasts. It also includes slaves that are sold to the Ghost City like animals. That is, humans. Therefore, in the Colosseum, you can see people fighting against people, beasts fighting against beasts, but more often than not, it's people fighting against beasts. Only by winning can you have a meal to eat, heal your injuries, and live on. If you lose, you can only slowly and miserably walk towards death. On the other hand, the guests of the Beast Colosseum would watch the hot-blooded beast battles from the stands, placing their bets on the slaves or exotic beasts they thought highly of. To put it bluntly, whether it's humans or beasts, they're just playthings in the hands of the rich. Living in such an environment, one can imagine how vicious and irritable the humans and beasts would be. And the backstage of the Colosseum that Mu Yin wants to go to is where these humans and beasts are imprisoned. Although there's an iron cage as a barrier, an ordinary martial practitioner would be scared witless by such a scene and feel such a dark and bloody atmosphere. Stopped by the ghost envoy, Mu Yin smiles faintly. She flips her wrist and a banknote appears in her hand. "I want to buy a beast slave. This is the deposit." The ghost envoy stares blankly. His expressionless face shows a rare flabbergasted expression. "Miss, do you know the rules of the Ghost City?" "Of course." Mu Yin carelessly says, "Only the beast slaves who win in the Colosseum are allowed to be bought and sold. If the slave I choose loses, the deposit will not be returned." That's a deposit of no less than 10,000 gold coins. Moreover, the Ghost City also has a rule. If there are people fighting over it during the transaction, then they can only use the rules of the Ghost City to determine the winner and loser with force. Moreover, life and death did not matter. The ghost envoy doesn't believe that a delicate young girl like Mayan can use force to determine victory or defeat with the people of the Ghost City. However, seeing that Mu Yin was so insistent, the ghost envoy didn't say anything else and let her in. The passage leading to the backstage of the Ghost City is very long. Furthermore, the deeper he went, the more damp and cold it became. There was also a disgusting stench of rot mixed with it. The first thing he saw were rows of huge cages on both sides, with countless ferocious exotic beasts locked inside. As soon as they saw Mu Yin and Xiao Bao, they immediately opened their ferocious mouths, stared with their bell-like eyes, and let out heaven-shaking roars. Mu Yan's expression didn't change, but Xiao Bao coldly looked at the beasts on both sides. He did not even release the aura of his profound strength. Just a cool and indifferent glance from those icy blue eyes was enough to make all the strange beasts shiver in unison. "Woo!" The mutated beasts wailed in fear and retreated with all their might, curling up into a ball. Chapter 71. It's only a short distance of a few steps, but the vicious, strange beasts in the cages on both sides are as silent as cicadas in winter, not even daring to let out a fart. The ghost envoy didn't follow Mu Yin in. He originally wanted the girl to be a little frightened and give up the idea of buying slaves. But fortunately, he didn't follow in, otherwise, if he saw this scene, he would definitely be so shocked that his eyeballs would fall out. Passing through the area where the strange beasts and spirit beasts are imprisoned, Mu Yin and Xiao Bao finally arrive at the place where the slaves are imprisoned. The cages used to imprison the slaves are much smaller than those of the strange beasts. Humans don't have huge bodies, nor sharp fangs and claws. It seems that they are much safer than the beasts. But the reality is just the opposite. As soon as Mu Yin walks into this area, pairs of cold, cruel, and tyrannical eyes stare straight at her. Each and every one of those pupils is crimson, simply more frightening than a wild beast. That gaze is like a sharp knife, as if it can peel off the clothes and flesh on her body bit by bit. There are also people who let out neurotic giggles. A little beauty actually came. How long has it been since I've eaten such tender, smooth, and delicious human flesh? Jia. Little beauty, come quickly. This grandpa can't wait anymore. Mu Yin leads Xiao Bao and slowly walks towards the innermost area. She doesn't care about the surrounding slaves who are baring their fangs and brandishing their claws, until she stops in front of a dark red iron cage covered in rust. In this iron cage, there's a man with disheveled hair. Compared to the ferocious roars of the other slaves in the beast-fighting coliseum, the man is strangely quiet. His loose hair hides his expression. However, his exposed hands were stained with blood, allowing one to imagine just how many living beings this man had killed with his bare hands. Seeing this man, Mu Yan's mind can't help but emerge with the appearance of him loyally guarding Gong Qianxue in her previous life. This man is called Yin Haoyan, a very ordinary name, but he has an extremely persevering temperament and talent. In the beast-fighting coliseum, he was already almost invincible. After being taken away by Gong Qianxue, his strength rose all the way to the peak of heaven's stage. As Gong Qianxue's loyal dog, Yin Haoyan eliminated countless enemies for Gong Qianxue, and also brought out a shadow guard called Yama's order for her. And the reason why Yin Haoyan was willing to serve Gong Qianxue so loyally was because Gong Qianxue had rescued him from the beast-fighting coliseum. The pitiful Yin Haoyan probably didn't even know that the culprit who exterminated his entire family was Gong Qianxue's trusted subordinate. Mu Yin stands in front of Yin Haoyan's cage. Her white, jade-like hand gently grabbed the tag hanging on the cage and said casually, "Number 3, it's you then. If you win in the beast-fighting arena, I'll take you away." The man in the cage slowly raised his head after a long while. His bloodshot eyes didn't have any human emotions. He only fiercely stared at the young girl in front of him. He did not speak, but a beast-like roar came from his throat. Mu Yin doesn't care about his threatening attitude and roar at all. She holds Xiao Bao's hand and deftly turns around. Just as he turned around, a light, sweet-sounding voice entered his ears. "Don't let me down, Yin Haoyan." Ah, ah, ah. Hearing these 3 words, the man in the cage behind him suddenly roared loudly. Chapter 72. Mu Yin stops and turns around to look at the man, revealing a mysterious smile. "You want to ask me, how do I know your real name?" The man in the cage nods desperately, his eyes emitting a strong light of desire. Mu Yin slowly shakes her head. "Not only do I know your real name, but I also know the blood feud you carry. If you want to come with me, want me to cure your injuries, and want to take revenge, then first win the next match and prove your worth." Saying that, she doesn't linger this time, turning around and leaving with Xiao Bao. During this time, a blind man reaches out to grab her, but she deftly clasps his wrist. Crack, that's the sound of bones shattering, accompanied by the man's mournful screams. Hearing the commotion, the ghost envoy sees an extremely strange scene. The girl in fluttering white has a beautiful appearance, smiling faintly. Her temperament is like that of a banished immortal, ethereal and noble, holy and charming, making people not dare to look directly at her. But the fiendish slaves in the cage look at her as if they're looking at the most ferocious ghost. One by one, they keep shrinking back, and from time to time, some of them caress their broken hands and feet, letting out painful wails. The way the ghost envoy looks at Mu Yin instantly changes. He realizes that he's mistaken. This girl is not only not stupid or weak, she's actually very strong. "Dear customer, may I ask if you've chosen the slave to be auctioned?" The attitude of the ghost envoy becomes incomparably respectful. Mu Yin points in the direction of the 3rd cage. "It's him." "Good. I'll register the customer right away. Please go to the private room and wait for the Colosseum's match to begin." In the 3rd cage, Yin Haoyan looks in the direction where Mu Yin and her son have left, the light in his eyes flickering. Then a raging fire ignites. A pair of blood-stained hands tightly grips the iron bars. Not long after Mu Yin left, Gong Qianxue, wearing pink clothes and a veil over her face, also appears at the backstage of the Colosseum, accompanied by a tall man. Big brother Yinlai, where is the beast slave you mentioned? Is he really as powerful as you say? The man called Yinlai tilts his head and glances at Gong Qianxue. His eyes reveal a trace of adoration and longing. When has Big Brother Yin ever lied to you? Qianxue, don't worry. Before this beast slave was sold to the Ghost City, he was only 24 years old and had already reached the peak of Earth stage. Although his strength is greatly reduced because of his injuries, as long as he recuperates with elixirs, he will definitely become your right-hand man in the future. If he didn't have such talent, he also wouldn't have massacred Yin Haoyin's entire family, cut off his tongue, and sent him to the beast-fighting Colosseum. After experiencing such despair, as long as Gong Qianxue descended from the sky to save him, she believed that he would shed tears of gratitude and pledge his loyalty to Gong Qianxue. Hearing Yinlai's words, Gong Qianxue shows a grateful smile. Big Brother Yin, as the leader of Jingcheng Country's #1 mercenary group, you're willing to do so many things for Qianxue. I really don't know how to thank you. Saying that, she gently grasps Yinlai's hand, her moist eyes full of worship and gratitude. When he sees the dazed and infatuated expression on Yinlai's face, his eyes flash with a sneer of ridicule and contempt. Chapter 73. As soon as Gong Qianxue sees Yin Haoyin's bloodied and scarred appearance, she immediately shows a distressed expression. You're in pain, right? Don't be afraid. I'll get you out right away. Saying that, she tries to touch Yin Haoyin's wounds without caring about the filth. But Yin Haoyin roars in anger and is slapped away. Yinlai sees the red marks on the back of Gong Qianxue's hand and immediately becomes furious. He grabs Yin Haoyin's collar and ruthlessly slaps him in the face. Yin Haoyin is thrown to the ground and spits out a mouthful of blood. Yinlai is still angry and wants to continue hitting, but Gong Qianxue pulls him back. Big Brother Yin, don't be like this, I'm fine. I believe he didn't mean it. Saying that, she squats in front of Yin Haoyin and softly says, Would you like to tell me your name? My name is Gong Qianxue. I'm the princess of Jingcheng Country. Don't be afraid. Your suffering has come to an end. I'll get you out right away. But you have to make an agreement with me to win this beast fighting competition first, okay? Because only by winning the beast fighting competition can I propose to the Ghost City to buy you. After leaving the Ghost City, I'll definitely let you live a good life. Are you willing to believe me? Any normal person, after struggling in this dark beast-fighting coliseum for several months, would inevitably be moved when they hear a beautiful girl say that she'll get him out. What's more, this beautiful girl is the princess of a country, and she's so gentle and patient to him, not even blaming him for hurting her just now. Gong Qianxue's heart is full of certainty. She believes that after they get out, this beast slave will be dead set on her. Sure enough, after hearing her words, the beast slave's eyes shine with a burning light. In anyone's view, it seems that this beast slave is full of fighting spirit because of Gong Qianxue's words. Gong Qianxue leaves with Yinlai, satisfied. At the door, Yinlai takes out the deposit and says to the ghost envoy, I want to buy beast slave number 3. The ghost envoy shows a surprised expression. Number 3? Can't I? No. Of course you can. The ghost envoy takes the deposit and mutters softly, Why is it number 3 again? But Gong Qianxue and Yinlai leave in a hurry, so they don't hear it. At noon, the battle officially began. 2 cages covered by black cloth were pushed to the center of the Colosseum. One of the cages was 4 to 5 meters tall, as big as a house, while the other was less than 2 meters tall. Compared to the first, it seemed extremely small. Then, a graceful figure of a woman appeared on the high observation deck. The moment the woman appeared, the surrounding crowd immediately burst into enthusiastic cheers. Miss Ru Yin, welcome, ancient martial artists, for taking the time to watch today's beast battle competition. Ru Yin smiled sweetly. Her voice was as clear as an aureole. Even though she doesn't speak loudly, the strange structure of the Ghost City allows her voice to be heard clearly by everyone. Today, one side is the early Earth stage saber-toothed tiger. The other side is the peak profound stage beast slave number 3. Which side do you think will win? As soon as Ru Yan's voice fell, The black curtain on the cage was unraveled by the rope hanging from above. Roar! A beast's roar shook the heavens and shook the earth, piercing through the clouds. Chapter 74. Saber-toothed Tiger. This is an early Earth stage saber-toothed tiger. It's really terrible. It's over. This beast slave number 3 is bound to lose today. That's not necessarily true. I heard that although this beast slave number 3 is only at the peak of profound stage, he has strength comparable to Earth stage. He has stayed in this coliseum for a month and has won dozens of matches in a row. On the high platform, Ru Yin smiles and says, "Are all the warriors present ready? There is still a quarter of an hour before the start of the beast fighting tournament. Please choose your bets." In the private room, Mu Yin is contentedly eating fruit with Xiao Bao while watching the battle in the Colosseum. Looking from afar, Yin Haoyin, who was released from the iron cage, stands in front of the huge, saber-toothed tiger. He is as small as an ant, as if he could be trampled to death with just one foot. Seeing this scene, the crowd's voices for the saber-toothed tiger to win become even more enthusiastic. Mu Yin looks at her son, who is eating fruit with his cheeks bulging, his delicate little face still cold. She can't help but hug him and kiss him. She asks with a smile, "Xiao Bao, who do you think will win between the two?" Number 3. Xiao Bao says with an expressionless face. Why? Because Nyang Qin fancied him. Mu Yin looks at her son, who is earnestly boasting about himself, and she can't help but hug and kiss him again. And the result of the match is just as Xiao Bao said. Number 3 wins. And it can even be said to be an easy win. Only his shoulder blade is badly mangled by the saber-toothed tiger's claws. Beast slave number 3 is locked in the iron cage, and Ru Yan's figure once again appears on the high platform. Before the match, 2 guests paid a deposit and intend to buy beast slave number 3. So now, the guests in the 1st and 7th rooms will start the bidding. The base price for beast slave number 3 is 500,000 gold coins. As soon as Ru Yin says this, the entire Colosseum suddenly explodes. Heavens! 500,000 gold coins, just to buy a beast slave. Who can afford it? You can't say that. This beast slave number 3 is really powerful. If we bring him back and train him well, he will definitely become our right-hand man. In the 7th VIP room, Gong Qianxue hears someone bidding against him, and his heart suddenly bursts with anger. Yinlai glances at him and immediately says a sentence to the maid serving at the side. The maid smiled and said loudly, "The guest in room 7 bids 600,000 gold coins." He actually added 100,000 gold coins in one go. What a big move. In the 1st private room, Mu Yin leisurely gave a price. 1 million gold coins. As soon as these words came out, the entire beast fighting arena immediately exploded, 400,000 gold coins in one go. What kind of person is in private room number 1? Isn't this too extravagant just for a beast slave? Gong Qianxue's expression was almost unable to maintain that gentle and graceful appearance. Her pair of beautiful eyes revealed a sinister light. Which idiot was it that dared to fight with her for it? Although 1 million gold coins was nothing to a princess like her, it was too much of a loss to use it to buy a beast slave. In particular, her Jin Hong Min, which used to be a source of large sums of money, has now been destroyed. Spending 1 million gold coins to buy a beast slave is even more painful for her. But after thinking about it, Gong Qianxue still clenches her teeth and shouts, 1 million gold coins? Chapter 75. The Colosseum once again bursts into an uproar. My God, where did the noble person in room number 1 come from? 2 million gold coins, 2 million She actually threw it out so casually. Ha 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 ha. In comparison, the one in room number 7 is much more wretched. Every time he raises the bid, it's only 100,000 gold coins. Although the private room is on the 2nd floor, the words of the people below can still be faintly heard. Gong Qianxue hears the people below talking about her wretchedness, and her lungs simply burst with anger. However, Gong Qianxue still doesn't know. In fact, the gold coins that Mayan is currently using for the bidding are all plundered from her Jin Hong Min. No less than 10 million gold coins. She painstakingly cultivated an assassin organization with elixirs and money, and in the end, it all benefited Mayan. If she knew this, Gong Qianxue would probably directly faint from anger. 3 million gold coins. In the end, Gong Qianxue still clenches her teeth and calls out a sky-high price. On the high platform, Miss Ru Yan's pretty face is already flushed with excitement, shouting, 3 million gold coins, 3 million. This is the most expensive beast slave in the history of our Xia's Colosseum. I don't know how the noble guest in room number 1 will react. The maidservant from room number 1 comes out with a smile on her face and loudly reports an amount. Noble guest number 1 bids 4 million gold coins. Another increase of 1 million. Ha 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 ha. Noble guest number 1 is formidable. I wonder if noble guest number 1 is deliberately playing with noble guest number 7. Rich people can be willful. Ha ha ha. Gong Qianxue's complexion is already ashen, and even Yin Lai can't sit still. That's because the money that the two of them brought together this time isn't enough. Who the hell is in room number 1? Don't they know that it's me, Yin Lai, who wants to buy this beast slave? In Qi Yin and Jingcheng country, who doesn't know the name of Yin Lai, the leader of the Raging Fire mercenary group? However, the Ghost City's maidservant only smiles politely. I'm very sorry, the Ghost City has a rule that we can't divulge the guest's information, unless the guest is willing. An insignificant servant. Do you know who you're talking to? Yin Lai's face is sinister, and he waves his hand to slap the maidservant. However, he was stopped by Gong Qianxue. Excuse me, can I see the person in charge of the Colosseum? Miss, please instruct me. I will pass on your message. The maidservant was still as businesslike as before. A trace of haze flashed through Gong Qianxue's eyes, but her face was still smiling. My name is Gong Qianxue. I believe you should have heard of my name. This time, the maidservant's face finally shows a trace of astonishment. The youngest heaven stage powerhouse, Jingcheng country's princess, Tiandao sect's inner sect disciple. So you are Gong Qianxue? This time, Gong Qianxue's face finally revealed a trace of pride. Exactly. This time, I want to bid for it myself, so I won't bother you. After a while, there was still no movement from room number 7. There was a lot of discussion below. Everyone felt that the person in room 7 couldn't handle the price of 4 million gold coins and planned to give up. Inside the iron cage, Yin Haoyin's eyes were fixed in the direction of private room number 1. The light in his eyes flickered, as if he was hopeful, but also as if he was afraid. On the high platform, Ru Yin laughed and said, "Congratulations to room number 1. Before he could finish, a voice suddenly came from room number 7. Chapter 76. As soon as these words come out, everyone stares blankly, including Ru Yin, who was about to announce Yin Haoyin's ownership. Xinyuan Dan? That Xinyuan Dan, it can't be the one I'm thinking of, right? But I heard that only Tiandao sect's Master Jinfeng can refine the Xinyuan Dan. There are very few pharmacists in this Yinwu continent who can refine elixirs. Even apothecaries are scarce, not to mention the even rarer alchemists. And the Xinyuan Dan is a third-grade elixir. Apart from Tiandao sect's Master Jinfeng, who else can refine it? Ru Yin is so excited that half of her body almost sticks out of the platform. She shouts, "Xinyuan Dan, is it the Xinyuan Dan that Master Jinfeng refined?" That's right. As soon as her voice falls, Gong Qianxue, with a white veil over her face, slowly walks out of private room 7. Her figure is slender and extraordinarily graceful, and her whole body exudes a noble and elegant temperament. Ah, that's Gong Qianxue. It's Jingcheng country's princess, and also Yinwu continent's youngest heaven-grade expert. Gong Qianxue is Jian Feng's junior sister. I heard that Master Jian Feng dotes on this junior sister very much, then it's no wonder that she has the Xinyuan Dan. But she actually used a Xinyuan Dan to exchange for a beast slave. This Jingcheng country's princess is really generous. The so-called Xinyuan Dan is a third-grade elixir. When an early Earth-grade ancient martial practitioner's internal force is exhausted, they only need to take a Xinyuan Dan to recover all of their internal force. Even a heaven-grade martial practitioner can recover nearly half of their internal force. For an ancient martial practitioner, this heaven-defying effect can play a life-saving role at a critical moment. From this, it can be seen how precious the Xinyuan Dan is. Listening to the admiring and envious discussions of the people below, a smile finally hangs on Gong Qinshue's face. I wonder if this Xinyuan Dan of mine is worth 4 million gold coins? Ru Yin abruptly comes back to herself and says excitedly, "It's worth. Of course it's worth. A third-grade elixir refined by Master Jinfeng is priceless. Let alone 4 million. Even if it's doubled, it's still not excessive." It's not easy for Jinfeng to successfully refine a third-grade Xinyuan Dan. Gong Qinshui only had this one on her. Taking it out just like that really made her heart ache. But when she thought of how she could make the people below her admire her, and how she could make the guy in room number 1 resentful and jealous, she felt that it would be worth it even if she gave him a Xinyuan pill. Yin Lai followed Gong Qinshui out and loudly said, "Since you already know that the profound Yuan Dan is priceless, Miss Ru Yin, why haven't you quickly announced the result of the bidding? Yes, I declare that the winner of the bidding for Beast Slave number 3 is..." Ru Yin coughed lightly and prepared to announce the result. Woo! Ah! On the War Beast stage, Yin Haoyin, who was in the iron cage, let out an angry and unwilling roar. A pair of crimson eyes glared fiercely in the direction of Private Room 1. The voice seemed to be saying, "Didn't you say you would take me away? Didn't you say that you would avenge me?" Everyone was waiting for the moment when the third beast slave would belong to Gong Qinshui, but suddenly, a slow voice came from Private Room 1. "Wait a minute. Since when did the rules of the Beast Fighting Coliseum make it so that after one party bids, the other party doesn't even have the opportunity to bid?" As soon as this voice came out, the entire martial arts practice field immediately sank into a strange silence, because that voice clearly belonged to a young girl. Chapter 77. There's obviously not a trace of deliberate gentleness mixed in, but when people hear it, it makes their scalp tingle all the way to their bones. This girl's voice is actually 10 times more pleasant than Gong Qianshui's. Everyone's gaze simultaneously turns towards the direction of Private Room 1. They originally thought that the girl in Private Room 7 would also come out like Gong Qinshui and let them have a glimpse of her beautiful face. So each and every one of them cranes their necks in anticipation. But after waiting for a long time, the person inside doesn't seem to have any intention of coming out. Ru Yin comes back to herself and promptly apologizes. "I'm sorry, honored guest. This is Ru Yin's dereliction of duty. May I ask, can you take out an elixir that's on par with the restoration pill?" Behind the curtain, Mayan's voice is still unhurried, as if she's careless. "I don't have an elixir, but I don't know if drafts will do." After she says that, the Beast Fighting Coliseum goes silent for a moment, then everyone bursts into laughter. Ha ha ha, drafts? She's actually comparing drafts to elixirs. Could it be that she's stupid? I don't know from which corner did this country bumpkin come that she doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Don't mention the third-grade elixirs refined by Master Jinfeng. Even the most common first-grade elixirs are much more precious than most drafts. To actually want to compare drafts with elixirs, this is really the best joke I've ever heard. Ha ha. Listening to the ridicule of the crowd below, Gong Qinshui's face shows a smug and mocking smile. On the high platform, Ru Yin shows an awkward expression. "Honored guest, the value of drafts cannot be compared to elixirs. Even if you add the original bid of 4 million gold coins, it's still far from enough." "Oh, is that so?" Mayan's voice is still neither too fast nor too slow, but her next words are like a sudden clap of thunder in the Beast Fighting Coliseum. "What if the drafts I offer can help ancient practitioners below Heaven Stage to break through their bottlenecks?" It hasn't been long since Mayan received the Shun musician inheritance. Refining elixirs is complicated, and she didn't have the foundation before, so she hasn't had the time to study it properly. But she already has a good understanding of drafts, so she refined some while on the road these past few days. Originally, she hadn't thought of auctioning it, but since Gong Qinshui had taken out the pills first, then she didn't mind accompanying her. Mu Yin said it lightly, but the people below were completely stunned. After a long while, someone came back to his senses and said loudly, "Breaking through the bottleneck? How is that possible? How come I've never heard of this draft?" "Have you heard of this medicine?" "Never. This little girl must be talking big, right?" For a moment, voices of doubt rose and fell. Almost no one believed it. Bottlenecks in cultivation were almost all ancient martial art practitioners' nightmares. Regardless of whether it was a minor realm or a major realm, those who were lucky would need a few years to break through, while those who were unlucky would need 10 years, decades, or even their entire lives to break through, eventually dying of old age. Although the Mystic Essence Pill was precious and a life-saving medicine, it was only temporary. However, if one could break through the bottleneck, it would have a huge impact on an ancient martial art practitioner's life. Therefore, how could these people not be shocked? How could he believe that something that even great Master Jin Feng's elixir can't do, and yet an insignificant draft from a little girl can do it? Chapter 78. Gong Qinxue and Yin Lai were also shocked at first, but then they couldn't help but sneer. Yin Lai shouts even louder. Unable to come up with more money and elixirs, you start to talk nonsense to deceive the ghost city. The face of the guest in private room 1 is really too ugly. Ru Yin is also embarrassed. This honored guest, our ghost city has never seen or heard of the draft that you're talking about. I'm afraid it's somewhat inappropriate to use it as a bargaining chip to bid. When Ru Yin said this, she thought that the guest in room 1 would back off. Who knew that the lazy and pleasant voice would still leisurely come from inside? I've never heard of it. Won't you know if you try it on the spot? For example, Miss Ru Yin, you've been stuck at Earth Stage beginner level for a long time, right? Would he be interested in advancing to the mid-tier Earth realm on the spot? I won't charge you for this bottle of draft. Ru Yan's pupils suddenly contracted, and even her breathing became slightly rapid. Indeed, her cultivation had been stuck at the early stages of the Earth realm for a very long time. One must know that the competition in the Ghost City is very fierce. The survival of the fittest, the survival of the fittest, the survival of the fittest, this is the eternal and unchanging rule here. Whether it was for the guests or the ghost messengers, Ru Yin knew that if she stayed at the beginning of the Earth stage year after year without any progress, her position would soon be replaced by someone else. As a result, in these 2 years, she has thought of countless ways, taking all kinds of drafts, and even bought precious elixirs. However, these medicines could at most improve her physique and increase the profound qi in her body. They were completely useless in breaking through the bottleneck. But now, the woman in private room 1 actually saw through her predicament with a single glance. Could it be true? In this world, is there really a draft that can make people break through bottlenecks? Ru Yan's eyes stared unblinkingly in the direction of private room number 1. Because of nervousness, her voice slightly trembled. Guest, what do you mean by this? Mayan smiles faintly. I've already made my meaning very clear. Now, it's up to Miss Ru Yin to dare or not. Although their voices were not loud, due to the special structure of the Beast Fighting Coliseum, their voices were amplified infinitely. Everyone who needed to hear them could hear them. The crowd below burst into an uproar again. Is the young lady in private room 1 crazy? To actually let people try drafts that they've never seen before? What if something goes wrong? Exactly. I've never even heard of a draft that can break through a bottleneck. Miss Ru Yin, you mustn't try it. Ru Yan's hand that was resting on the railing tightly clenched into a fist. Her chest slightly heaved up and down, showing how tangled her mood was at the moment. Right at this moment, Gong Qinxue opened her mouth and said, Miss Ru Yin, if you have any problems with your cultivation, I can help you contact Master Qinxing. I believe he'll surely be able to resolve your troubles. As for those unknown medicines, it's better not to take them. Dr. Qinxing is currently one of the most powerful doctors in the Yinwu continent. It is said that his medical skills are superb, but he rarely shows his face. The number of people who wanted to see him had been queuing up for years. But now, Gong Qinxue actually said that she could invite Master Qinxing to treat Ru Yin, causing everyone in the Beast Fighting Coliseum to exclaim in surprise once again. In the private room, when Mu Yin heard the name Qinxing, the corners of his lips curled up slightly, and a cold light flowed out of his eyes. Qinxing, Dr. Qin. Chapter 79. Feeling the chill emanating from Mayan's body, Xiaobao couldn't help but look up and call out softly, Nyangqin? The cold air suddenly dissipates, and Mayan lowers her head to gently stroke her son's head. her eyes overflowing with softness and warmth. Xiaobao's little face was still tense, but his soft and fragrant little body rubbed against her chest and hugged her tightly. Although he didn't say anything, it was as if he was saying, Xiaobao will always be with Yang Qin. In the beast fighting coliseum, everyone is advising Ru Yin to think thrice before acting and not to recklessly take drafts. But Ru Yin was still hesitating. Even Dr. Qin Qing had never heard of him being able to help an ancient martial artist break through the bottleneck. However, the guest in front of her, guest number 1, had a huge opportunity placed in front of her. If she was right, her future would be worry-free, and her nightmares would no longer exist. But if she gambled wrongly, then everything would be over for her. Gong Qianxue didn't expect that Ru Yin wouldn't appreciate it even after she mentioned Qian Qing. Her eyes turn cold, then she looks towards private room number 1. She seems to dissuade with good intentions. This guest, how could you be so irresponsible as to let Miss Ru Yin try a draft with an unproven effect? If something were to happen to Miss Ru Yin after taking it, how would you be able to atone for it? There was complete silence in private room 1. Gong Qianxue thought that the person inside had been rendered speechless by her words. She couldn't help but sneer and feel proud in her heart. Who knew that just as she was about to speak, that lazy and pleasant voice came over unhurriedly, "How about this? I'll make a bet with you, Your Highness. If Miss Ru Yin doesn't break through her bottleneck after taking the draft, or if there's any mishap, I will crawl out of this beast fighting coliseum. On the contrary, if Miss Ru Yin advanced after consuming it, then the princess would have to crawl out. What do you think?" You. Gong Qianxue hadn't expected that she would actually be the one being checkmated, and her face instantly twisted. Do you think I'll believe that there's really a medicine in this world that can help people break through bottlenecks? At this moment, Ru Yin finally spoke. I'm willing to try. Her voice trembled a little, but it was full of determination. When Ru Yin's words came out, it was equivalent to slapping Gong Qianxue in the face. Her face couldn't help but twist for an instant. In the private room, Mu Yin chuckled. Good guts. Then a bottle of draft is thrown towards Ru Yin on the high platform. Although the private room and the platform were about the same height, they were quite far apart. When Ru Yin saw the porcelain bottle being thrown over, she was so scared that she almost cried out. But the next moment, the porcelain bottle steadily fell into her hands. Ru Yin showed a surprised expression. Without the support of a strong, profound energy, it was impossible to throw the bottle through the air. This gives her a bit more confidence in the draft in her hands. The light in Ru Yin's eyes becomes more and more resolute. She opens the bottle cap and pours the draft inside into her mouth in one breath. After the cold medicine flowed into her stomach, it only took a few breaths before it began to spread throughout her limbs and bones. A faint warm current began to surge in his qi. As the draft spreads, the blood and internal force in his body seemed to be boiling. Ru Yin quickly sat down cross-legged and began to cultivate and meditate. The Colosseum was silent. Everyone's eyes were firmly fixed on Ru Yin, unblinking. Chapter 80. After a short quarter of an hour, a cloud of mist condensed from internal force curls up from the top of Ru Yin's head. A thick and powerful aura emanated from her body. This is the pressure of a mid-level Earth stage powerhouse. An old man at the peak of Earth stage can't help but exclaim. A high-level martial artist can see the cultivation level of a low-level martial artist. As soon as these words come out, everyone in the beast fighting coliseum is stunned. I remember that Miss Ru Yin is at the early Earth stage, right? Absolutely. Miss Ru Yin has been stuck at the early Earth stage for more than a year. This is actually true. Heavens, there's actually a draft that can help people break through bottlenecks in this world? That's incredible. Some people can't help but look in Gong Qianxue's direction, lowering their voices to whisper. In comparison, the profound restoration dam that Jingcheng country's princess took out sounds frightening, but its true value is completely incomparable to the draft that the guest in private room 1 has taken out. That's right. That's a draft that can help break through bottlenecks. I've never even heard of it before. Hee. Fortunately, Her Highness the Princess didn't agree to the bet just now. Otherwise, wouldn't she be crawling out of the beast fighting coliseum right now? Although Gong Qianxue can't hear all the discussions, she can still vaguely hear a few words. Those gazes of obscure pity and ridicule that are directed at her make her feel like she's sitting on pins and needles. From childhood to adulthood, as Her Highness the Princess, a distinguished disciple of the Heavenly Road sect, she's always had a smooth journey, the object of other people's admiration and envy. When has she ever lost as much face as she did today? And all of this was brought to her by the woman in Private Room 1. Gong Qianxue fiercely glares in the direction of Private Room 1, her teeth tightly clenched. Yin Lai turns his head to look and sees the goddess in his heart, her eyes brimming with tears, as if she's about to cry. He immediately feels distressed. Just at this moment, Ru Yin opens her eyes from adjusting her breathing. She looks at Private Room 1 with a grateful expression and immediately says, I declare that the value of the draft that noble guest in Private Room 1 can break through bottlenecks is higher than that of the profound restoration Dan. Would the noble guest in Private Room 7 still want to increase the price? If you do not increase the price, I will judge that the beast slave belongs to the noble guest in Private Room 1. In the Colosseum, Yin Haoyan tightly gripped the iron railing and held his breath. He stared unblinkingly in the direction of Private Room 1, waiting for the moment of judgment to arrive. Ru Yin waited for a while, but seeing that Gong Qianxue didn't respond, she couldn't help but smile and said, Since the honored guest from the 7th room no longer increases the price, then I declare that the third beast slave belongs to the honored guest from the 1st room. Please follow me to complete the handover. As soon as these words came out, the beast battling arena instantly burst into an uproar. Some people are sighing in admiration. This beast slave's value is too high. He's actually exchanged for a draft that can break through a bottleneck for the Ghost City. There are also some people who anxiously ask Ru Yin when this bottle of draft will be auctioned. Some people even stretch their necks to look around Private Room 1, hoping to see just what kind of sacred being can take out such a heaven-defying draft. All the focus is on Mayan. On the other side, no one cared about Gong Qianxue, and no one paid any attention to her. To Gong Qianxue, this was even more unbearable than being slapped in the face. Chapter 81. She's so overbearing. Even if she buys that beast slave, she probably won't treat him well. Big brother Yin, I really can't accept this. In his heart, Yin Lai adored Gong Qianxue. At this moment, seeing her sad and mournful appearance, how could he bear it? Especially when he remembered that it was Gong Qianxue who saved him when he was betrayed and seriously injured by his subordinates. He had to return this favor even more. Thinking of this, Yin Lai immediately says in a deep voice, Qianxue, don't worry. What belongs to you? Big brother Yin will definitely take it back for you. Finished speaking, without waiting for Gong Qianxue to react, he had already jumped, using the railing between the 1st and 2nd floor as a stepping board. With a few leaps, he landed on the War Beast stage. As soon as he lands, Yin Lai immediately faces Ru Yin and says, This one doesn't accept the result of the bidding. According to the rules of the Ghost City, I, Yin Lai, propose a life and death duel to the guest in Private Room 1. I don't know if this martial practitioner in Private Room 1 dares to accept my challenge. This turn of events caused the entire beast fighting arena to instantly fall silent. Then, like a drop of water falling into boiling oil, the whole place boiled over. Oh my God! This is Yin Lai, the leader of the Raging Inferno mercenary group. I heard that his strength has already reached the peak of Heaven stage. The Raging Inferno mercenary group is one of the top 5 mercenary groups in Yinwu continent. Yin Lai actually wants to propose a life and death duel to the woman in Room 1. That woman's voice sounds even younger than Jingcheng Country's princess. How can she be Yin Lai's opponent? Yes. If I were that woman, I would definitely give up accepting the death match. But in this way, according to the rules of the Ghost City, that beast slave will automatically belong to Yin Lai. The Ghost City wouldn't be able to earn this heaven-defying draft for advancement. Wouldn't both sides be unhappy? What can we do? The rules of the Ghost City have always been like this. The weak are prey to the strong. Not being able to buy a beast slave is better than losing your life, right? Yin Haoyan could hear the discussions of the crowd on the grandstand, as well as Private Room 1. Yin Haoyan glances at Yin Lai, then looks towards the second floor. His expression doesn't have the flustered nervousness of a moment ago. Instead, it has an indescribable sense of certainty. In the private room, after hearing Yanlai's challenge, Mu Yin gently hooks up the corners of her mouth. Yanlai, so interesting. It's actually another old friend. In the past life, Yanlai was even more loyal to Gong Qinshue's confidant than Yan Haoyan. For Gong Qinshu, he can do anything devoid of conscience, such as killing Yan Haoyan's entire family, cutting off his tongue, and selling it to the Ghost City. Another example, just because he suspected that Mu Yin had betrayed Gong Qinshu, he sold her and another person to Wanren Ku, causing her to almost be defiled by animals. Then Gong Qinshu descended from the sky like a savior, making her even more grateful to Gong Qinshu and even more devoted to her. Hee, what a good pawn of Gong Qinshu, what a loyal and devoted dog. Through the thin curtain, Mayan's line of sight falls on Gong Qinshu from afar. The smile at the corners of her mouth is enchanting and cold, like an Azura walking out of the Red Lotus Hell. Gong Qinshu, don't worry. In this life, I will not kill you so easily, because it would be too easy for you to die just like that. Bit by bit, I will get rid of all the claws and teeth around you, and pull out the nails you've buried in the Yinwu continent one by one. I want to see you lose everything and die in pain and madness. Chapter 82. Nyang Qin. Her cold hand is caught by a soft little hand. Mu Yin suddenly sobers up from the hatred of her past life. Seeing her son's soft and cuddly little face, a warm tenderness emerges in Mu Yan's eyes. For the rest of her life, she must remember, vengeance must be avenged. But the most important thing in her life isn't vengeance, but her most cherished Xiao Bao. As long as it's for Xiao Bao's good, even if she has to give up her life and give up her revenge, she doesn't care. Xiao Bao tightens his handsome little face and says coldly, Nyang Qin, did that person bully you? I'll go teach him a lesson. Mu Yin can't help but laugh, pinching her bulging cheeks. That kind of trash can bully Nyang Qin. Do you think that's possible? Just then, because she's slow to respond, Yanlai once again says in a loud voice, Humph. It turns out that the person who can come up with a heaven-defying draft is just a coward who is greedy for life and afraid of death. In that case, we'll accept this beast slave number 3. Saying that, he looks at Ru Yin. The rules of the Ghost City are like this. I believe that Miss Ru Yin wouldn't mind, right? Ru Yin shows an awkward expression. Let Yanlai take away beast slave number 3, and the auction price will be based on Gong Qinshue's bid. That is, a Xinyuan Dan in exchange for the ownership of this beast slave number 3. Although the Xinyuan Dan refined by Master Jin Feng is also very precious, compared to that heaven-defying draft that allowed her to advance to the Middle Earth stage in a short quarter of an hour, its value simply can't be compared. But so what if she's unwilling? The rules of the Ghost City are like this. Everything is based on the strong. Even Ru Yin can't go against it. She sighs softly and says, Before Ru Yin can finish speaking, the curtain of private room 1 is suddenly lifted and a figure slowly walks out. It's a young girl wearing a snow-white dress, casually holding an old zither in her hand. The girl's face is covered with a very ordinary ghost mask, covering her face. But just by looking at her figure and the porcelain white jade-like skin that's exposed, one can tell how young she is. Moreover, it was clear that the ghost mask completely covered the young girl's appearance, but compared to Gong Qinshu, who wore a veil and half held the pipa to cover her face, this young girl made it even more difficult for people to shift their gazes away. It seemed as if every move and every gesture carried a charm and laziness that caused one's heart to tremble. Even though Zhang Xian couldn't see her face, just looking at her alluring figure was enough to intoxicate him. Commander Yin wants to fight me to the death? Mayan lightly leans on the railing, her sweet-sounding voice carrying a hint of indifference as she asks, Does it mean that whoever wins will obtain his ownership? Mu Yin points at Yin Haoyan inside the cage. Exactly. Yanlai said in a clear voice, Do you dare to accept my challenge? A low, mocking laugh comes from Mayan's mouth. She fiddles with the zither as she leisurely says, Great leader Yin, it's not good to seek your own death at such a young age. I'm afraid you're not worthy of me accepting your challenge. Everyone in the beast-fighting coliseum couldn't help but sneer at this big talk. This girl actually said that Yin Lai is not worthy for her to accept the challenge? I think she's crazy, right? Does she think that she can defeat a peak heaven stage expert just because she has an elixir that can help her break through the bottleneck? Simply dreaming. A strong killing intent flashes through Yin Lai's eyes. Whether I'm worthy or not, we'll know after we compete. Chapter 83. Mayan raises her hand and hooks her jade-like index finger. Then, come, I accept the invitation. That action is like calling a dog over. It can be said to be extremely provocative and completely disregarding Yin Lai. At this moment, Yin Lai is finally enraged. He roars, and his whole body soars into the sky. Just like when he came down, he uses the railing as a stepping board, and like a soaring eagle, he pounces straight towards Mayan. Watch out. It's over. This girl is dead meat. Commander Yan's internal force pressure is so frightening. However, from the beginning to the end, Mayan has been languidly leaning on the railing, too lazy to even move. It's not until Yin Lai steps on the second railing and jumps up that her fingers gently pluck the strings. The beautiful sound of the zither resounds, and at the same time, it's accompanied by a swift and fierce sword energy whistling towards Yin Lai. A muffled groan comes out of Yin Lai's mouth. Immediately after, a bloody mark appears on his thigh and arm, and blood splatters everywhere. Yin Lai awkwardly tumbles down from the air, falling back into the beast-fighting coliseum. The whole audience is silent for a moment, and everyone's eyes fall on the Tian Emochin in Mayan's hands. This is a sound blade attack, right? Could it be that this girl is from Fanning Palace? Are you kidding me? Although Fanning Palace is the only sect that can use sound blade attacks, it's still just an unremarkable small sect. How could they have such a heaven-defying draft? And how could anyone hurt Commander Yin Lai? Was I hallucinating just now? The internal force emitted from that sound blade attack is so powerful, I even feel that it's stronger than Commander Yin Lai's. You can see that woman's cultivation? I'm at the early Earth stage, but I can't see it at all. I'm at the high Earth stage. I can't see it either. I'm at the middle heaven stage. Even this old man can't see it. In the stands of the beast-fighting coliseum, all the ancient warriors look at each other in dismay. The way they look at Mayan is no longer shock, but amazement. One can launch a sound blade attack, and the other has a mysterious energy attached to the sound blade attack that's more powerful than Yin Lai's. Even a mid-rank heaven stage warrior couldn't see through his cultivation. What did this mean? Could it be that this woman is actually at the peak of heaven stage like Yin Lai? Someone couldn't help but exclaim. However, he was immediately rebutted. How is that possible? Looking at that girl's figure and listening to her voice, she's clearly a lot younger than Gong Qianxue. If she's at the peak of heaven stage, then what does Gong Qianxue, the #1 genius of Yinwu continent, count as? Everyone's eyes couldn't help but secretly glance at Gong Qianxue outside the 7th private room. Countless gazes focused on her, causing Gong Qianxue to almost grind her teeth to pieces. Just now, she had enjoyed the vanity pleasure of being the center of attention, but now, she was filled with disgust and hatred. She wanted nothing more than to disappear from this place, and she wanted nothing more than to tear the woman in white who had embarrassed her into pieces. Down below, Yin Lai also hears everyone's discussion. He could endure being injured and humiliated, but he could not endure Gong Qianxue's reputation being tarnished. With a strong murderous intent in his eyes, Yin Lai fiercely glares at Mayan. Gnashing his teeth, he says, "You can only rely on your sound blade attacks to shamelessly mount sneak attacks from high places? If you have the ability, come down and fight me one-on-one." Chapter 84. Since it's a one-on-one duel and a life and death duel, shouldn't it be Her Highness the Princess herself? Yin Lai chokes from the question, momentarily speechless. Everyone is discussing spiritedly, their gazes veiled towards Gong Qianxue, because they think that Mayan is right. "Stop talking nonsense," Yin Lai shouts, interrupting Mayan. "I want to buy this beast slave. It has nothing to do with Qianxue. If you want to take this beast slave away today, You must accept my life and death duel. Just from that simple sound blade attack, Yinlai knows that this girl's cultivation is definitely higher than Gong Qianqua's. And the most frightening thing is that, just by looking at her figure and bones, Yinlai can clearly guess that this girl is several years younger than Gong Qianqua. It's also because of this that a strong murderous intent emerges in Yinlai's eyes. Because he knows that if he lets this girl live, it will have a huge impact on Gong Qianqua's title as the #1 genius in Yinwu continent. What? Don't tell me you don't dare to accept the challenge? Yinlai sees that Mayan still hasn't come down, and he can't help but sneer. Seeing how nervous you are about this beast slave #3, could it be that he's your lover? You wouldn't be having an illicit affair with him, giving birth to a bastard, right? Ha ha ha. In order to infuriate Mayan, Yinlai's words become more and more unpleasant. When Mayan hears his last words, her eyes finally turn cold. Holding the Tian Mo Chin in her hands, her snow-white figure leaps up, and like a feather, she lightly and skillfully lands in front of Yinlai. Under the light of the beast fighting coliseum, the ghost mask that covers her face emits a cold and treacherous light. The girl's voice is like the sound of nature, slowly echoing in Yinlai's ears. Yinlai, I hope that you can still laugh in a moment. Yinlai seems to have heard the funniest joke. Then a fierce light bursts out of his eyes. Little girl, you think that by relying on elixirs to push your cultivation to the peak of heaven's stage, you're invincible in the world? Hee hee, today, I will make you regret your frivolity. Before his voice falls, he has already formed a claw with his fingers, ruthlessly grabbing at the ghost mask on Mayan's face. As he moves, the internal force and pressure belonging to the peak of heaven's stage violently surged like a tumbling river. A thick, murderous aura pervaded the entire Colosseum. Even the spectators in the first few rows near the war beast stage could feel this terrifying pressure and shivered. Only Mu Yin, from beginning to end, has been standing there absent-mindedly. A charming smile appeared on her face under the ghost mask. As Yinlai approaches, Mu Yin gently plucks the Tian Mo Chin in her hand. An invisible sound blade shoots towards Yinlai like a sharp sword. Yinlai sneered, "Do you think I will fall for the same trick?" After he finished speaking, his figure flashed like a bolt of lightning, instantly dodging the sound blade. "Let's see what you can do without the sound blade." Die. Before he could finish his arrogant declaration, Yinlai suddenly feels a sharp pain in his back. He staggered and almost fell to the ground. There's still a careless smile on Mu Yan's face. Her white, jade-like fingers lightly pluck the strings of the zither. She says guiltily, "I'm really sorry. I forgot to tell Commander Yin that my sound blade attacks can turn." When these words came out, everyone in the Colosseum wondered if they had heard wrongly. Chapter 85. But just now, you also saw that after Yinlai dodged that sound blade, it actually went around to his back. Who can dodge such an attack? Everyone's faces reveal an aghast expression, because they think that if they were in Yinlai's place, they would be even more miserable and miserable. Yes, miserable and miserable. Next, Yinlai profoundly displays these two terms in front of everyone. The sweet tinkling sound of the zither flows out from the girl's slender fingers. But it doesn't only bring lingering music, but also a solemn murderous intent. Isn't Yinlai strong? No, he's very strong. How can a peak heaven stage ancient practitioner not be strong? In Xia and Go City, you can't even find one or two people stronger than him. However, such a strong person doesn't have the slightest strength to fight back under the girl's zither attack. Countless sound blades come in a continuous stream, forming a hurricane that wraps around Yinlai. No matter how he rushes left and right, he will eventually be blocked by the sound blade attack. The wounds on Yinlai's body are increasing, and the internal force within his body is being consumed faster and faster, because only by constantly operating internal force can he withstand the sound blades. Otherwise, he would have already been cut into 7 or 8 pieces by these sound blades. But what Yinlai fears the most isn't the sound blade attack. Rather, it's the spiritual impact contained in the zither sound. In his mind, scenes of being betrayed, abandoned, and facing death keep appearing. Anger, hatred, pain, despair. All the negative emotions rush into his mind like a tide. Ah! Yinlai roars, "Slut! Slut! Let me out if you have the ability. I'm going to kill you. Kill you." Mu Yin skillfully plucks the strings of the zither, leisurely smiling. "Great Commander Yin, I have no enmity with you. Why do you have to kill me?" Yin Lai's mind is already on the verge of collapse. Hearing this, he roars, "Because you blocked Qinshue's path. You're obviously younger than Qinshu, but your cultivation is far higher. If I let you live, how could Qinshu still be called Yinwu Continent's #1 genius?" These words coming from Yin Lai's mouth are tantamount to confirming the fact that Gong Qinshu is inferior to Mu Yin. The spectators in the Colosseum were in an uproar again. Sure enough, I said that this girl is much more powerful than Gong Qinshu. Haha, what Yinwu Continent's #1 genius? Turns out it's just an undeserved reputation. I really can't stand that Gong Qinshu. She advertises how awesome she is all day long, and a bunch of men revolve around her. Haha, now you've been slapped in the face, right? I just don't know where this girl came from. From now on, Yinwu Continent's Azure Sky list will be updated. Mu Yin doesn't pay any attention to everyone's fervent gazes. She just plucked the strings and continued to ask, "Oh? You care about Gong Qinshu so much that you're willing to do anything for her?" "Of course." Yin Lai, while resisting the sound wave attack, loudly and proudly says, "Qinshu, she is my savior, my goddess, the only person in this world who will not abandon me. I'm willing to do anything for her." Mayan is silent for a moment. Her gaze sweeps over the man in the iron cage not far away, and she faintly says, "For her, you would even kill and set fire to it, and exterminate Yin Haoyin's entire clan." Chapter 86. Ha 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 ha. It's me who exterminated Yin Haoyin's entire clan. So what? Yin Lai laughs heartily. Who told Qinshu to take a fancy to that kid and have me recruit him? But that kid refused? Since he doesn't know what's good for him, then I'll kill his entire family, cut off his tongue, and sell him to the Ghost City. Ha ha ha. Wait until he experiences this life that's neither human nor ghost. When he's in complete despair, then Qinshu will come down from the sky to save him. How could he not be grateful to Qinshu? At that time, he'll be a dog by Qinshu's side, and she can order him around however she wants. Ha ha ha. Yin Haoyin's crazy roar comes from the iron cage at the side. His crimson eyes are like a madman, staring hatefully at Yin Lai. The heavy iron cage vibrates violently under his shaking. His hands were covered in blood, and the sound of bones cracking could be heard. However, he was actually able to forcibly bend the cage made of fine iron. Mu Yan's eyes are deep and cold. Looking at Yin Haoyin's crazed and pained appearance, it's as if she's looking at the distant past. The Yin Haoyin in front of her is really pitiful. Just because he had outstanding talent and a persevering temperament, he had to bear the fate of having his family ruined and his family killed. That's why he was trained to be Gong Qinshu's dog. But how much better was she in her previous life? Just because the child she was pregnant with was an immortal fetus, her abdomen was forcibly cut open, and her womb palace was cut out. Her blood feud was clearly right in front of her, but she had eyes but couldn't see, and foolishly worked herself to the bone for her. As for Gong Qinshu's henchman Yin Lai before her, he's nothing more than a pitiful and pathetic fool. He regards Gong Qinshu as his savior and goddess, but in Gong Qinshu's eyes, what's the difference between him and a dog? Yin Lai is still laughing incessantly. In the whole world, only Qinshu won't betray me, won't abandon me. As long as it's for Qinshu, I'm willing to do anything. Mu Yin can't help but sneer. Do you really think that Gong Qinshu won't abandon you? Then why don't you look up now and see if the goddess in your heart still cares about your life or death? Yin Lai is startled, and the movement of circulating internal force pauses. In a split second, the sound blade cuts open a wound on his body, so deep that the bone can be seen. However, he couldn't care less about that. Instead, he raised his head and looked in the direction of Private Room 7. He saw that the place was empty, and there was no sign of Gong Qinshu. Even the two guards by Gong Qinshu's side had disappeared. Did you see that? Mu Yin ridiculed. as early as when you were trapped by my wind blade. When I determined that you were completely useless, she had already sneaked away. She knew that if she stayed, she would only suffer even greater humiliation. She might even be asked by me to fulfill our agreement and crawl out of the beast-fighting arena. As for your life and death, she has never cared about it. Everyone in the martial arts practice field could not help but discuss loudly. None of them actually noticed that Gong Qinxue had already snuck away at an unknown time. Anyone with discerning eyes can see that Yin Lai is fighting for Gong Qinshue's sake. Now that Yin Lai is in danger, Gong Qinxue actually sneaks away by herself. This caused many people to feel extreme disdain towards Gong Qinshue's actions. Chapter 87. It's far more than fishing for fame and compliments. Didn't you hear what Yin Lai just said? In order to get loyal subordinates, Gong Qinxue actually had his entire family killed and even crippled them before selling them to the Ghost City. Such conduct is simply insane. Such a person is actually called the #1 genius of Yinwu continent and is even ranked first on the Azure Sky list. Really too shameless. On Yin Lai's side, after confirming that Gong Qinxue has really abandoned him, he almost completely collapses into madness. No. Impossible. Qinxue couldn't have done this to me. Don't try to deceive me. I won't believe you. Yin Lai roars hysterically. Qinxue is the best girl in the world. Only she appeared and saved me when I was at my most desperate and helpless time. Mu Yin stops moving the strings in her hands, and the sound blades stop attacking. So Yin Lai clearly sees the pity and ridicule in her eyes. Oh, that's right. There's one thing that you probably don't know, right? When you were betrayed in the mercenary corps, you were almost put to death. The person who betrayed you, it was Gong Qinxue who bribed him. I think you must be very clear about the reason. Just like what you did to Yin Haoyin, it's exactly the same. Yin Lai fiercely widens his eyes, and a trace of extreme fear emerges in the depths of his eyes. He immediately pounces madly at Mu Yin. Slut, don't try to deceive me. You dare to slander Qinxue. I'll kill you. Mu Yin easily dodges and continues to speak unhurriedly. If I remember correctly, the person who betrayed you was your life and death brother, right? Before you killed him to avenge your death, didn't he reveal anything to you? Whether it was Gong Qinxue or not, I think you know it better than anyone else, right? Yin Lai's movements abruptly come to a halt. Unconsciously, a picture emerges in his mind, and the anger on his face completely turns into horror. Some things are like this. When it's not mentioned, he doesn't think it's suspicious. But when Mu Yin pierces through everything, he finds that everything Gong Qinxue has done is full of flaws. Impossible. 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 Yin Lai kneels on the ground, holding his head, and lets out an angry and desperate roar. Gong Qinxue. Why? Why are you doing this to me? There's not a trace of warmth in Mu Yan's eyes. She sneers, and the strings in her hands move. The sound blade doesn't strike Yin Lai, but rather falls on the iron cage holding Yin Haoyin. With a cracking sound, the iron cage broke into 2 pieces. Yin Haoyin roared and rushed out of the cage. The beast slave's loss of control caused everyone in the arena to cry out in alarm. But Mu Yin said unhurriedly, Miss Ru Yin, this beast slave should be considered my possession now, right? As she spoke, she tossed a porcelain bottle to Ru Yin. Ru Yin takes the porcelain bottle, and with one sniff, she knows that it's that heaven-defying draft that can help people break through bottlenecks. She immediately says with a smile, what the customer says is correct. This beast slave number 3 is now yours. Yin Haoyin's eyes are red as he walks towards Yin Lai step by step. As he passes by Mu Yin, he pauses his footsteps. Mayan indifferently says, I promised you, as long as you come with me, I will avenge you. Now, this person is yours to deal with. Yin Haoyin turns to face Mu Yin, kneels on the ground, and heavily kowtows his head. Then, he rushes towards Yin Lai. Chapter 88. The onlookers all show a horrified expression, but no one stops him. In the end, Yin Haoyin stands up covered in blood and walks back to Mu Yan's side. He bows and hangs his head, looking like he respects her as his master. Not far away, Yin Lai's eyes are dug out, his tongue is cut off, his limbs are chopped off, and even his qi is dug out. But he's still alive, living in more pain than death, letting out mournful wails. From now on, he will live worse than a dog, unless he has the courage to end his own life. Mu Yin chuckles softly. When head Yin Lai exterminated the whole family, you probably didn't think that good and evil will eventually be repaid, and that heavens will reincarnate, right? Then, we'll never meet again. Saying that, she turns around and walks away. Yin Haoyin blindly follows behind her. The onlookers in the beast-fighting Colosseum point at the badly mutilated Yin Lai on the ground. In the end, no one pays attention to him. After dealing with Yin Lai, Mu Yin doesn't stay any longer. She takes Xiao Bao and Yin Haoyin and directly leaves the Ghost City. Apart from the Ghost City where the weak are prey to the strong, Xia'an is a prosperous and stable city. Holding Xiao Bao's hand, Mu Yin unhurriedly walks on the street, like taking a leisurely stroll in a courtyard. But the trio still attracts the attention of many passers-by. The reason is that Mu Yin and Xiao Bao are too beautiful, while Yin Haoyin is too ugly and too fierce. Before Yin Haoyin was sent to the Ghost City, he only had most of his cultivation wasted and his tongue cut off. But after he was sent to the Ghost City, he fought with beast slaves and beasts in the beast-fighting Colosseum all day, leaving countless scars on his face and body. His whole body is disheveled. His whole body is spotless, and he's incomparably hideous. Compared to Mu Yin and Xiao Bao, one bright and beautiful, and the other delicate, they naturally attract the attention of countless people. When they arrive at a clothing store, Mu Yin suddenly stops and says to Yin Haoyin, "Go inside and pick some clothes for yourself." Yin Haoyin doesn't say anything and goes into the clothing store. As soon as he enters, the store owner's cursing voice comes from inside. "Where did this beggar come from? Dirtying my floor? Still not getting out." But Yin Haoyin seemed to have not heard him at all and went straight ahead. It was as if he only had Mu Yan's orders in his ears. To him, the words of others were like wind passing by his ears. The innkeeper originally wanted to stop Yin Haoyin, but when Yin Haoyin came closer, he smelled the thick stench of blood on his body and the murderous aura of a ferocious beast that had been honed in the bestial Colosseum. He was so frightened that he retreated repeatedly, and even his voice began to tremble. Don't act recklessly." Just as he turned to run, Mu Yin threw a bag of gold coins over. These gold coins should be enough for him to pick a few clothes, right? The shopkeeper was stunned. He looked at the beautiful Mu Yin, then looked at Yin Haoyin, and then weighed the gold coins in his hand. Suddenly, he smiled like a flower. "It's enough. Not to mention buying a few clothes. Even if you want to buy all the clothes in my shop, it's not a problem." Mu Yin glanced at Yin Haoyin and casually said, "Restrain your aura, lest you scare others." Yin Haoyin, who was completely ignoring the shopkeeper just now, immediately focused his gaze when he heard this. The ferocious aura on his body instantly disappeared completely. The shopkeeper couldn't help but exclaim in surprise, "Is this gentleman your slave, miss? What a frightening aura." Chapter 89. Mayan chuckles. "He's my subordinate." She's not interested in raising slaves like Gong Qianxue. But now, she really needs a loyal and capable helper, so she spared no effort to rescue Yin Haoyin from the Ghost City. This can be considered as each taking what they need. Mayan is bored to death, staring at Yin Haoyin as he comes out after choosing his clothes. Xiao Bao suddenly pulls her hand and moves in a certain direction. Mayan stares blankly. Following his force, she sees Xiao Bao pulling her in front of a white pleated skirt. With a taut little face, he looks at the shopkeeper in all seriousness. "I want this one." The shopkeeper looks at him in astonishment, then looks at Mayan. He sees Xiao Bao taking out a gold leaf from his bosom and throwing it to the shopkeeper. "Give it to me." Even though it's just a 4-year-old child speaking, that commanding tone and cold, sharp eyes completely intimidate the shopkeeper. He blindly takes the white dress down and mechanically introduces it. Little Gongzi really has a good eye. "This dress is our shop's treasure." The whole dress is woven from quicksand threads. After wearing it, Not only can it make a woman as graceful and ethereal as a fairy descending to earth, it also has the effect of warming in winter and cooling in summer. Xiao Bao looks at him in disgust. One gold leaf isn't enough? Why so much nonsense? Yes, yes, yes. It's long been enough. The shopkeeper says repeatedly, even wanting to return the gold leaf in fear and trepidation. In fact, the gold coins that girl just gave me are enough. Xiao Bao doesn't take it, but holds the dress in front of Mayan. Nyangqin? Mayan's smiling eyes are shining. She crouches down and caresses the smooth texture of the dress. Does Xiao Bao want to buy clothes for Nyangqin? Xiao Bao nods with a taut face. His pair of big ice blue eyes are clearer than the sky after the rain. Mayan's eyes curve. Xiao Bao, do you think Nyangqin will look good in it? And Xiao Bao nods seriously. Nyangqin looks the best. Mayan, who is overjoyed by her son's praise, happily takes the dress and says to the shopkeeper, "Wrap it up for me, and also wrap this, and this cloth." Mu Yin was referring to cloth because there were no ready-made clothes suitable for children to wear in this shop. Xiao Bao, I'll buy some cloth and personally sew clothes for you. Okay? Xiao Bao expressionlessly turned his head away, indicating his refusal. With his mother's craftsmanship, it was already very good that she could put two pieces of cloth together. In the beginning, when he didn't have many belongings in the mountains, it was Xiao Bao who mended his torn clothes. Mu Yin likes to see her baby son's expression of disgust and reluctance to hurt her heart the most, so she deliberately picks him up and says in a downcast mood, "Does Xiao Bao think that Nyangqin's clothes are not good-looking?" Sure enough, Xiao Bao immediately hugs Mayan's neck and puts his little head on her shoulder. He says in a low voice, "I don't mind. As long as Nyangqin made it, Xiao Bao will wear it. Even if it didn't look good, even if it was tattered, as long as it was made by his mother, he would feel warm and happy when he wore it." The rims of Mayan's eyes are slightly hot, and she hugs the little person in her arms a little tighter. "Xiao Bao, thank you. Thank you for being able to stay by Nyangqin's side for the rest of her life. It was you who made my life not only filled with dark and bloody revenge, but it was also you who gave me the courage to continue living." She suddenly remembers what Bailey Yinlu said in her mind. Xiao Bao can only live up to 10 years old in the Yinwu continent. Chapter 90. After buying the clothes, Mu Yin, who doesn't lack money, directly finds an inn and rents a courtyard. After dinner, Yin Haoyin washes up and changes into a new set of clothes. He knocks on Mu Yan's door. The moment he opens the door, he sees a woman dressed in a flowing sand dress under the candlelight. Even a battle puppet like Yin Haoyin, who has already become numb to life, can't help but feel a trace of amazement. After Mu Yin has taken a bath, she changes into the pleated flowing sand dress that Xiao Bao picked for her during the day. Her originally gorgeous complexion, set off by the flowing light of her clothes and hair, looks even more elegant and refined, making people feel as if they're in the world of immortals when they look at her. However, Mu Yan's expression is always so charming and languid. As a result, apart from being ethereal and out of this world, it adds a bit of charm that can make people's hearts shake. However, Yin Haoyin's amazement only lasts for a moment, and he kneels down on one knee. He can't speak, but he still performs a very standard master-servant etiquette. Mu Yin holds a cup of tea in her hand, and she leisurely takes a sip. She doesn't have any intention of stepping forward to help him up, and instead says faintly, "Do you know why I saved you?" Yin Haoyin doesn't get up, nor does he move. He just quietly kneels like that, as if he doesn't care about the answer. Mu Yin answers to herself, "Actually, what I wanted to do wasn't to save you, but to cause trouble for Gong Qianxue, because I found out that Gong Qianxue wanted to take you for her own use, and wanted to buy you from the Ghost City, so I carefully investigated your background. That's how I could inadvertently find out what Yin Lai did to you. I saved you purely because I didn't want Gong Qianxue to be happy. But in any case, you owe me a life." Mu Yin puts down the teacup and looks at him with a gaze like electricity. "Now, I can give you two paths. The first path, you serve me for 5 years as my subordinate. In 5 years, you'll pay off the debt you owe me. After that, we won't owe each other anything. No matter where you want to go, or what you want to do, I won't stop you." Yin Haoyin raises his head, his gaze firmly fixed on her, without a trace of emotion on his face. The corner of Mu Yan's mouth hooks up, and she continues, "The second path, you're willing to recognize me as your master. From then on, you'll lose your personal freedom and can only work for me. If you dare to betray me one day, I will make you beg for death. But conversely, as my people, I will also provide you with drafts to treat your injuries. At the very least, it won't be a problem for you to reach the peak of heaven's stage." If an ordinary person heard that they could advance to the peak of the heaven rank, they would probably be so excited that they couldn't control themselves. However, Yin Haoyan's expression remained calm from beginning to end. One could even say that he was deathly still. He crawled up from the ground and knelt on one knee again. He clenched his right fist and pressed it against his chest. His body was completely prostrated. This was a very humble gesture. It was also a master-servant etiquette without the slightest discount. Yin Haoyan pressed his head against the cold ground, but his body didn't shake at all. In fact, as early as when Mu Yin allowed him to personally cripple Yin Lai for revenge, he had already recognized Mu Yin as his master in his heart. His life had lost all meaning when his entire family was exterminated. It was Mu Yin who gave him a new life, and also gave him the opportunity to take revenge. Therefore, recognizing Mayan as his master, he doesn't feel the least bit lowly or sullen. He only feels incomparably lucky, because only in this way can he find the meaning to continue living. Mu Yin reaches out and buckles the seat across from her. "Sit down. I'll take your pulse." Chapter 91. Her jade-like fingers rest on his wrist that's full of scars. After taking the pulse, Mu Yin frowned slightly. Sure enough, Yin Haoyan's injury is far from as simple as it looks on the surface. In her previous life, as Gong Qianxue's confidant, Yin Haoyan's cultivation eventually reached the peak of heaven stage. But it was forcibly treated with drafts and elixirs that had extremely great side effects. Therefore, after reaching the peak of heaven stage, it was difficult for Yin Haoyan to advance even an inch. Moreover, he passed away after a serious injury at a young age. Even at the time of his death, he didn't know that the enemies who exterminated his family were Gong Qianxue and Yin Lai. Mu Yin withdraws her hand and says, "Sit cross-legged on the ground. In a moment, no matter what I do, don't resist." Yin Haoyan sits cross-legged on the ground as instructed. The Tian Emo Qin has appeared in Mu Yan's hands at some point. She closes her eyes and quickly mobilizes the internal force within her body. Xiao Bao stands up, his small face taut as he stands guard by her side. As her plain white fingers slowly move on the dark gray strings, a sweet and pleasant music flows out from the gaps between her fingers. Yin Haoyan's originally cold and stern expression slowly softens when he hears this music. His brows relax, and his scarred face reveals a gentle and sweet expression, as if he's thinking of a good memory. Mu Yin sighs softly in her heart, but her hands don't stop moving. The sound of the qin slowly changes. From the original touching and moving, it slowly turns into a sobbing, heart-wrenching pain. Yin Haoyan's expression gradually turns from gentle to pained and struggling. Bean-sized beads of sweat roll down his forehead. His tall and sturdy body trembles uncontrollably. In his qi, the mysterious energy slowly pulsates along with the music and begins to circulate in his internal organs and meridians. Wherever the profound energy went, it didn't bring about the usual comfort of warmth, but a pain that felt as if his flesh and blood were being torn apart. Yin Haoyan tightly clenches his teeth, blood slowly spilling from the corners of his mouth, and his clothes are completely soaked in sweat. But he doesn't even let out a groan, let alone move, or circulate his mysterious energy to resist, just because this is Mu Yan's order. When the profound qi that was stimulated by the sound of the zither flowed through every inch of his meridians, the mournful and desolate music suddenly changed, turning into a stern and fierce agitation. An even more intense pain erupted from Yin Haoyan's flesh and bones. He finally couldn't bear it any longer and opened his mouth to let out a beast-like wail of pain. Fine beads of blood, mixed with viscous black liquid, seeped out from the surface of his skin. At this moment, Yin Haoyan looked 100 times more miserable than he had been in the beast-fighting coliseum. Black and red tears of blood flowed from his 7 orifices. The new clothes he had just changed into were completely dyed red with black blood. But the sound of Mayan's zither did not stop or soften in the slightest. The sound of the zither continued for an entire hour before it slowly stopped. Mu Yin retracted her somewhat numb fingers and said softly, "Go back and take a bath first, then change your clothes, and then come see me." Yin Haoyan struggled to get up from the ground. He looked like he had just been fished out of a swamp of black blood. He was filthy and smelly. His body was so weak that he couldn't even stand properly. He almost fell down the moment he got up. But he still respectfully saluted, and then staggered out. As soon as Yin Haoyan left, Xiaobao immediately pounced over and hugged Mu Yin tightly. Chapter 92. Xiaobao raises his head, unhappiness and distress clearly written in his clear blue eyes. Xiaobao doesn't want Yang Qin to work hard. At this time, Mayan's smile is still bright and languid, but her complexion is incomparably pale. Even her red lips don't have a trace of blood. This is clearly a sign of excessive consumption of mysterious energy. Mayan knows that Xiaobao is distressed for her, so she can't help but hold his little face and kiss it. "Xiaobao, be good. Yang Qin knows what to do. I just used up a part of my mysterious energy. Yang Qin just needs to rest for a bit." Xiaobao takes the Tian Mo Qin, his short and small fingers strumming the strings. It is reasonable to say that apart from Mayan, no one else can control the Tian Mo Qin that has recognized its master. But when Xiaobao plucks the strings, a faint mysterious energy seeps into the body of the Qin through Xiaobao's fingertips and overflows along with the tinkling notes. The music that Xiaobao is playing is very jerky, completely inferior to Mayan's melodious and pleasant to listen to. However, Mu Yin clearly feels that her originally dried-up qi, in the instant that Xiaobao plays the music, slowly starts to fill up with internal force. Moreover, this kind of replenishment of internal force doesn't seem like the side effects of taking drafts or elixirs. It's also not like when someone else transmits their internal force to her, where the two types of internal force are incompatible, leading to rejection. The profound energy that was born from the music seemed to have originally belonged to her, and it complemented and merged with the profound energy that remained in her qi. Mayan's complexion slowly returns to normal, but she can't get rid of the astonishment on her face. "Baby." Mayan picks up her son and kisses him on his smooth, tender, and cold little face. "Baby, why are you so amazing? Yang Qin has just learned the echo recovery, and I haven't officially used it yet. I didn't expect that baby could already do it." Echo recovery is one of the skills inherited from the Shen musicians. According to Bailey Lewin, this is a group support skill. Through the sound of music, it can restore internal force or spiritual power in a short period of time. In the beginning, it can only restore the internal force of 1 or 2 people at the same time. When this skill is practiced to a high level, it's even possible to restore the internal force of 10 million people at the same time. While Mu Yin was practicing this skill, Xiaobao sat quietly at the side, watching her play the zither, watching her circulate her mysterious energy. He didn't expect that he would learn this skill without anyone noticing. An indiscernible smile finally appeared on Xiaobao's cold little face. He hugged Mayan's neck, his small body nestled in her embrace. He said softly, "Xiaobao will help Yang Qin recover in the future. Xiaobao doesn't want Yang Qin to suffer." Mu Yan's heart was warm, and her eyes were filled with a gentle smile. Just as she was about to speak, Yin Haoyan knocked on the door. Xiaobao immediately jumps down from Mayan's arms and stands to the side with a taut face. It was as if the child who had acted coquettishly just now wasn't him. But if one looked closely, one could see a trace of red at the base of his ears. Mayan is amused by her son's performance. Only when Yin Haoyan walks in did she restrain her teasing. Yes, in front of outsiders, she still had to save face for her precious son. She looked at Yin Haoyan and said, "You are now in the middle of the Earth realm." Yin Haoyan nodded his head. His deadpan face finally revealed a trace of gratitude and emotion. Chapter 93. Moreover, he could clearly feel that apart from some external injuries and bone fractures in his hands, The remaining internal injuries in his meridians and chi were almost completely healed. From the day his clan was exterminated until now, his body had never felt so relaxed. Mu Yin, however, is somewhat regretful. She thought that she could restore Yin Haotian's cultivation to the peak of the Earth realm. In the end, I've only just come into contact with the skills of a Shun musician, and I'm still not proficient in the business. The result of being out of practice was that the effect was greatly reduced. In the future, he still had to practice more on Yin Haotian. Since he was a free experimental subject, it would be a waste not to use him. Yin Haotian, who was being stared at, didn't notice his master's intentions in the slightest. He kneels down again and firmly kowtows his head 3 times towards Mu Yin. He wasn't even the slightest bit curious about Mu Yan's miraculous skill of using the sound of the zither to treat internal injuries. These 3 kowtows were only filled with gratitude and the determination to pledge his life to her. Mu Yin was very satisfied with his attitude. She nodded and said, "All right, you have just recovered to the middle rank of the Earth stage. Your realm is not stable. You will go into seclusion for 3 days to stabilize it. Don't let me down." After resting for a night at the inn, the next day, Mu Yin takes Xiaobao to wander around. Xiaobao had grown up in the mountains since he was a child. He had never received any interesting toys like other children, and he had never worn any brocade clothes. Later on, when Mayan's cultivation was high enough, she could bring Xiaobao in and out of the nameless mountains at will, but usually only to the nearest town. The resources in that small town were very scarce. The food that could be bought tasted extremely ordinary, and the clothes that could be bought were incomparably crude. Therefore, after Mu Yin finishes her business in Xi'an, she isn't in a hurry to leave. She wants to take Xiaobao to have some fun and enjoy themselves. After one round, Xiaobao's coarse cloth clothes had been changed into gorgeous silk clothes. His soft and smooth black hair was also tied up with a tasseled jade rope, revealing his delicate and handsome little face. He was clearly only 4 years old, but when he was dressed up, he made a cute, jade-like baby look handsome enough to make people blush and their hearts beat faster. Mu Yin holds Xiaobao's hand as they walk on the road. She only feels that the passers-by on both sides of the road are turning their heads in unison, and from time to time, they would glance at Xiaobao in amazement and admiration. The girl's excited voice could even be heard. "Which family does this little boy belong to? How come I've never seen it in Xi'an before? It's simply too cute." Mu Yin couldn't help but bend down to pick up her son. Xiaobao was caught off guard and hurriedly wrapped his arms around her neck. A trace of doubt appeared on his handsome little face. Mu Yin rubbed Xiaobao's tender little face and complained, "Xiaobao, Nyangqin couldn't bear to bring you out? Look at the expressions of the people on the street when they look at you. They all want to snatch you away from Nyangqin. It's all because you're too cute, Xiaobao. What if someone snatches you away from mother?" Mu Yan's words were originally meant to tease Xiaobao, who knew that Xiaobao would really keep a straight face, frowning and saying, "I won't." Xiaobao will beat up whoever makes Xiaobao leave mommy's side. Mu Yin was amused. She kissed his little face and said, Xiaobao is so obedient. This way, mother and Xiaobao won't be separated." Little Bao nodded in all seriousness, but his fierce gaze shot towards the 2nd floor of the nearby tea house. Chapter 94. Not far away, in a private room on the 2nd floor of a tea house, a man in his 30s is sitting by the window, his gaze carelessly sweeping over the street below, but suddenly fixates on a certain place. His leisurely expression suddenly turns into one of amazement. The man closes the folding fan in his hand. His body slightly leans forward and sticks out. Even his breathing becomes slightly heavy. "Master, what's wrong?" The subordinate standing on the side sees the man's abnormality and promptly asks. The man doesn't pay attention to him, but beckons the tea house's waiter over. "Do you know where that girl came from?" The tea house's waiter takes a look and also gasps. He sees a white-clothed girl holding a child's hand walking on the busy street. There are clearly people coming and going, but that white-clothed girl can attract the attention of others at first glance. This is because the girl's appearance is really too beautiful. Her skin is like snow, her eyes are like twinkling stars, and her lips are like the pistils of a flower. Just looking at her from afar, it can make people's minds ripple, unable to move their eyes away. It's no wonder that the owner of the private room would forget himself and ask. However, the tea house's waiter quickly shakes his head. This girl is so beautiful. If I had seen her in Xi'an, this lowly one would certainly remember. The implication is that this girl has only recently appeared in Xi'an City. The man doesn't say a word as he looks at the girl below. He can't help but stick out his tongue to lick his lips, a burning desire flashing through his eyes. When the tea house's waiter goes out, the man's subordinate immediately says, "Is master interested in this girl? If so, this subordinate will immediately bring her up to see you." In this subordinate's opinion, his master's status is incomparably venerated. To be fancied by his master, whether it's as a wife or a concubine, or even as a servant girl, it would be a great blessing. Therefore, these words are spoken as if it's a matter of course. After the man hears this, he doesn't hesitate and immediately nods, but he gives a rare reminder: be polite, don't be rude to the beauty. The guard bows in response, but when he turns around and goes downstairs, he has a smirk on his face. For a woman from the lowly Qi Yin country to be able to receive his master's favor, it's really a blessing of 3 lifetimes. If he is still a bit polite to her, wouldn't that girl go to heaven? Mu Yin puts Xiaobao down and leads him on the road again. However, he noticed that the little fellow was glancing back from time to time, and the expression on his little face was becoming more and more solemn and cold. Mu Yin couldn't help but smile. His gaze inadvertently glanced towards the tea house behind him and said casually, "Xiaobao cares a lot about those 2 clowns up there?" Xiaobao was just about to answer when a man in a guard uniform ran out of the tea house and quickly blocked their way. The guard raised his chin and looked down from the corner of his eyes. He said condescendingly, "Miss, my master has feelings for you." Mu Yin raises an eyebrow. "Your master?" "Yes, my master is already waiting for you upstairs." The guard said, "Please go up alone. Don't let the master wait too long. By the way, you can't bring the child with you. Master wants to see you alone." Hearing that, Mu Yin couldn't help but reveal a bright and beautiful smile. Her already beautiful face looked even more alluring under the contrast of this smile. The guard's breathing became slightly erratic. He thought to himself, "She really is a stunning beauty. No wonder master is tempted." Chapter 95. Your master wants to see me? Mine sneers. Who does your master think he is? Just because you want to see me, I have to see you? Hee hee. Why don't you let him go back and look at his own face? Is it bigger than a wash basin? Mu Yan's poisonous tongue was learned from Bailey Liuin's notes. His face was as big as a basin. The guard had never heard of such an illusion, but he could hear the disrespect in her words towards his master. She immediately flies into a rage, but remembering her master's instructions, she still clenches her teeth and patiently says, "My master is from Huangyao countries, Jianwangfu. Miss should now know how great of an honor it is for you to be invited by my master, right? In Yinwu continent, Qi Yin country is the lowest country, while Huangyao country is the highest. In Huangyao country, Jianwangfu is a very revered Wangye's mansion. Therefore, when the guard said these words, he had already determined in his heart that the young girl in front of him would be in fear and trepidation, repenting for her disrespect just now, and begging to immediately have an audience with his master. However, Mu Yan's next words once again refreshed his worldview. "I'm sorry, I've never heard of any random prince's mansion," Mu Yan said with a mocking smile. "I only know that a good dog doesn't block the way. Or are you saying that you can't even be a dog for your master? How dare you call me a dog?" The guard couldn't hold it in any longer and flew into a rage. The veins on his forehead bulged, and his body emitted a strong killing intent. "What a whore. It's your great fortune that my master has taken a liking to you. Since you don't know what's good for you, don't blame me for being impolite." As soon as he finished speaking, he had already grabbed Mu Yan's shoulder with a sinister expression. Mu Yan hasn't moved yet, but Xiaobao has already taken a step forward. His small, fair, and tender palm slowly pushes towards the guard's Qi Si. Bang! There's a loud noise, and the scene of Mayan begging for mercy that the guard had expected doesn't appear. Instead, he suddenly feels a sharp pain in his dantian, and his whole body flies out. His sturdy body crashed into the stone lion in front of the tea house. The stone lion shattered and turned into dust. The guard suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. His body twitched and he fainted. In a private room on the second floor of the tea house, the man sitting by the window had seen everything that had just happened. He had originally thought that this young girl would gladly rush over to see him after knowing his identity. Who knew that not long after, he would see his guard being slapped away by a palm. With his cultivation, he could clearly see that the guard's chi had actually been forcefully shattered, and the profound energy within his body was madly gushing out. An Earth-rank elite guard was crippled in just a short encounter. However, not only was the man not angry, but the interest in his eyes grew stronger. It was also at this moment that the young girl below raised her head. Her languid and charming eyes drifted over indifferently. The moment their eyes met, a cold light suddenly flashed. With a light wave of her hand, the window on the second floor of the tea house immediately shattered into countless pieces. There were even a few splinters that splashed onto the man's face, leaving a bloody scar on his face. Blood flowed down his cheeks and streaked across the corner of his lips. However, not only did the man not feel angry or afraid, he couldn't help but lick his lips. The interest in his eyes instantly turned into burning desire. Originally, this woman was nothing more than a dispensable appreciation and plunder. But now, he felt that his heart was really moved. Chapter 96. For Mu Yin, that lecher who coveted her and that insolent guard were nothing more than a boring interlude. She quickly threw them to the back of her mind. After strolling around with Xiao Bao for a while, Mu Yan's footsteps suddenly stop in front of a shop called Chunji Pharmacy. Xiao Bao looks up and sees his mother looking at a busy young man in the pharmacy with a complicated expression. A trace of absent-mindedness and gentleness flashes through her eyes. Yang Qin? Xiao Bao can't help but grasp Mu Yan's hand. Do you want to buy medicine? Mu Yan shakes her head and says, Xiao Bao, the older brother inside once did Yang Qin a big favor. Let's go in and thank him, okay? Hearing that, Xiao Bao immediately nods solemnly. Xiao Bao will repay Yang Qin's kindness. Mu Yan can't help but smile and leads Xiao Bao into the pharmacy. This is a very simple and crude pharmacy. There are only medicinal herbs placed in the shop, not even a bottle of draft. The only owner of the shop is the young man that Mu Yin had just seen. He has a dispirited expression, his eyelids are swollen, and he has a dejected and absent-minded appearance. He doesn't even notice that Mu Yin has come in. Mu Yin goes to the counter and gently knocks. The shop owner suddenly comes back to his senses, and with great effort, he asks, Customer, may I ask what kind of medicine you want to buy? Mu Yin doesn't answer him, but asks herself, You want to sell this shop? There is a sale notice posted outside the pharmacy, but this notice has been posted for almost half a month, and no one has ever bought it. Occasionally, there are two people who come to inquire, but when they hear his conditions, they all scoff at him and scold him for talking nonsense. The shop owner gives a wry smile. He doesn't think that Mu Yin can buy this shop. I won't hide it from this girl. I really want to sell this shop, but I don't accept gold and silver to negotiate the price. Oh? If you don't accept gold and silver, then what do you want? I need a draft that can treat insanity and tuberculosis. When he says this, the shop owner's face and ears turn red, and he feels too ashamed to show his face. Although his shop is an ancestral heirloom, it's in a remote location and there's no source of goods. It can be said that there's no profit at all. And this draft that he wants, it's not necessarily something that can be bought with hundreds of thousands of gold coins. Therefore, everyone who comes to inquire after seeing the notice and hearing his conditions couldn't help but ridicule and curse at his shamelessness. The shop owner is already mentally prepared for Mu Yan's scolding. But who knew that a young girl's clear and moving voice would ring in his ears? Fine, I accept the deal. It doesn't matter if you don't accept it. Wait. What did you just say? The shop owner's eyes widened in disbelief. Mayan smiles leisurely. I think I've already said it clearly enough. I'll give you the draft to treat your insanity and tuberculosis, and you transfer this shop to me. The young man on the other side opened and closed his mouth for a long time, but not a single word came out. Mayan flips her wrist and a jade-white porcelain bottle appears in her hand. She says unhurriedly, "You don't believe that I can take out the draft that you want? Don't worry, you can try first. I'll look for you tomorrow." Without waiting for the young man's response, she turned around and left swiftly. The young man was left alone in the shop, holding the porcelain bottle he had left behind. His expression was one of shock and struggle. After a long while, he finally clenched his teeth, closed the shop door, and rushed to the backyard. In Mu Yan's mind as she leaves, the young man's simple and honest face is still constantly flashing. Chapter 97. At that time, she was sold by Yin Lai to the dirtiest and most terrible place in the world, and was about to fall into the fate of being ravaged and defiled. In her most desperate time, it was this youth in Wanren-ku who saved her life. The youth's own situation was also very bad, but he secretly hid her, allowing her to escape the crisis. Mu Yin doesn't even know the youth's name, but from the way he talks to himself, she learns that the young man was originally the owner of a pharmacy in Xi'an. Because his mother was seriously ill and needed an extremely expensive draft, he had no choice but to sell his shop. He even sold himself as a slave to the Ghost City. At that time, Mu Yin promised the youth that after leaving the Ghost City, she would visit his mother on his behalf. But when Mu Yin was taken away by Gong Qinxue to visit his mother, she found that his mother had already died of an illness. Even that young man died a violent death in a fight in the 10,000 cave. In her previous life, this debt of gratitude that could not be repaid had always been remembered by Mu Yin. Now, she finally had the chance to repay this benefactor. 3 days later, Mu Yin opens her eyes in the space and looks at her son with ripples of extraordinary splendor. On the opposite side, the baby, who looks like a pink jade carving, is sitting cross-legged with his eyes closed, operating the internal force within his body. As the internal force in his dantian moves faster and faster, his cultivation realm actually faintly shows signs of breaking through from the early heaven stage to the middle heaven stage. Xiaobao is only 4 years old now. He's actually about to break through to the middle heaven stage. Who would believe it, and who would dare to believe it? Mu Yan's eyes are full of pride as she looks at her baby son. Then her eyes can't help but glance at the fat rabbit lying on the grass on its back, snoring loudly. She gently hooks up the corners of her lips. No wonder this stupid rabbit likes to stay in the space besides eating. It turns out that in addition to the beautiful scenery and fresh air, the space also has this advantage. The speed of cultivation here is actually a lot faster than outside. In just 3 days, Xiaobao has already reached the great perfection of the early heaven stage, and her cultivation has also slightly loosened. After a while, Xiaobao slowly opens his eyes on the opposite side. Eyes as clear as the sky, he fixedly looks at Mu Yin. A smile instantly spreads across Mu Yan's face. "Baby, aren't you going to continue cultivating?" Xiaobao tightens his face and shakes his head. "Nyangqin has something to do?" Mayan smiles even more brightly. "Xiaobao wants to go with Nyangqin?" The cold and delicate little face on the other side heavily nods. Xiaobao has to protect Nyangqin. Then, Mu Yin picks up her son and kisses him. With Xiaobao's protection, Nyangqin is not afraid of anything. Not long after they left the space, there was a knock on the door. It's very quiet outside. No one's making a sound, but Mayan can immediately determine that it's Yin Haoyin just from his breath and footsteps. "Come in." Just as he finished speaking, Yin Haoyin pushed open the door and entered, respectfully bowing towards Mu Yin. Mu Yin raises her eyebrows and glances at him. "Your realm is quite stable." Yin Haoyin bent one knee and knelt down. He placed his right hand on his chest and performed another oath of loyalty. Mayan stands up and says, "It just so happens that I'm also going to leave today. Since you've already stabilized your realm, come with me." Yin Haoyin nodded without hesitation and stood up, following closely behind Mu Yin. After checking out of the inn, Mu Yin leads Xiaobao and Yin Haoyin straight to Chen's pharmacy. Chapter 98. But 3 days have passed in a row, and the girl who was supposed to come tomorrow still hasn't shown up. Until this morning, when Chen Xingfeng opens the store again. He's pacing back and forth in front of the door before the sun has even risen. Suddenly, two familiar figures are reflected in his eyes. At the end of the street, a beautiful girl in a long black dress slowly walks over, holding the hand of a little boy who's even more beautiful than a child in a Buddhist temple. Behind them is a big and burly man with a face full of scars. Looking at them from afar, one can feel the threatening, murderous aura coming from that man. But Chen Xingfeng simply doesn't care about being afraid of that man and practically sprints over. "Miss, you're finally here. I thought you wouldn't show up again. Miss, you really are my savior. The draft you gave me. I've been afraid for the past few days that you wouldn't show up again. I can no longer repay your kindness." As he speaks, he bends his knees, about to kneel down. Mu Yin reaches out and gently supports him, easily lifting up the man's 70 to 80 kilogram body. "Let's go back to the store and talk." The girl's voice is cold and clear, as sweet and pleasant as an oriole's cry, but it inexplicably has a kind of irresistible charm. Chen Xingfeng promptly says, "Yes, yes, yes, I'm so excited that I've become stupid. Let's go back first and talk." "Benefactor, this way, this way." The group quickly arrives in front of the store. Before they enter, they see a gray-haired old woman standing at the door, constantly looking around. Seeing Chen Xingfeng coming over, the old woman immediately asks, "Feng, how is it? Has our benefactor come?" "Mother, why are you here?" Chen Xingfeng promptly runs over to support the old woman. "Your body has just gotten a little better. How could you catch a cold?" The old woman pushes Chen Xingfeng's hand away and goes straight to Mu Yin and the others. Her drowsy gaze sweeps over Yin Haoyin and Xiao Bao's faces and finally falls on Mu Yin. An astonished light flashes through her turbid eyes. She didn't expect that the one who gave her son such a valuable draft and saved her life would actually be such a budding young girl. She also has such an outstanding appearance. The old woman slowly exhales and bends her knees before Mayan. "Benefactor, thank you for saving this old woman's life." Mu Yin usually had a careless attitude towards other people, but facing this kind of old man, she definitely couldn't accept such a big gift with a clear conscience. The languid expression on her beautiful face disappears, and Mayan promptly reaches out to support the old woman, softly saying, "Auntie, there's no need to be overly courteous. I'm not your benefactor. It's just an equal transaction with your son." Mother Chen shook her head repeatedly. "My eyes are blurred, but my heart is not blind. How could our shop be worth the price of that draft? If it weren't for your kindness, I wouldn't be regretted even if I died. But I pity my foolish son. He would definitely be dragged down by my illness." Mother Chen knew her son too well. As long as there was a glimmer of hope for her to be saved, Chen Xingfeng would never give up, even if he had to go bankrupt or even pay with his life. But Mother Chen only had this one son. How could she bear for him to suffer? How could she bear to abandon him? And Chen Xingfeng's ending in the previous life also confirms Mother Chen's conjecture. Speaking up to hear, Mother Chen's eyes redden. She beckons to Chen Xingfeng. "Feng, quickly come and kowtow to this miss." Chapter 99. Without waiting for Mu Yin to stop him, he has already kowtowed 4 or 5 times. When he raised his head, he could see that his forehead was bruised. Mu Yin didn't know whether to laugh or cry, but she didn't stop them. If kowtowing in gratitude like this could make the mother and son of the Qin family feel at ease, she would accept it. But Mother Qin's next sentence makes Mu Yin reveal a surprised expression. "Miss, if you don't mind, let Qing Feng be your slave to repay your kindness." Mu Yin was startled. "You don't have to be so exaggerated, right?" "No, not at all. Our Chun family's ancestral teachings say that we must pay back what we owe. Miss, please give our Qing Feng a chance. He may be clumsy, but he will be loyal to you." Under Mother Qin's insistence, Mu Yin has no choice but to compromise. "There's no need to be a cow or a horse. How about this? It just so happens that after I buy the shop, I still need people to manage and help me. If young Master Qin doesn't mind, why don't you help me take care of the shop's business? I will pay you according to the normal price of a shopkeeper." "Not at all. Not at all. Chen Qingfeng was so excited that his saliva flew everywhere. He wanted to shout loudly to express his sincerity. It's my honor to work for you. I don't need any reward. Mother Chen also said, yes, young lady, we owe you that. How can we ask for a reward? Mu Yin no longer argues. He thinks that it doesn't matter if he doesn't receive payment. Seeing that Chen Qingfeng's cultivation has been stuck at the early profound stage, when the time comes, he can just provide a draft that can help him advance. Thus, she smiled and said, Auntie, my name is Jun Mayan. You can call me by my name in the future. This is my son, Xiao Bao. Xiao Bao, call me Grandma. Xiao Bao's handsome little face is expressionless, but when he hears Mu Yan's instructions, he still calls out in his childish voice, Grandma. Such a young girl already had a son. Mother Qin and Chen Qingfeng showed a trace of surprise, but then they felt relieved. Whatever the benefactor did was right. Furthermore, her benefactor's son was so beautiful, it was as if he was carved from the same mold as her benefactor. Mother Qin couldn't help but exclaim, what a handsome child. In fact, Mu Yin only bought Chen Qingfeng's shop to repay his kindness. Moreover, she had no interest in doing business at all. Therefore, for the next few days, she only brought Xiao Bao along to cultivate in the space. The shop was still left to Chen Qingfeng to manage. At the same time, she also tries to use the Shun musician's auxiliary skill, Spring Snow, to refine all kinds of drafts. For example, the most basic draft used to supplement internal force, mysterious energy filter. Because of the relationship between the formula, mysterious energy filters are more or less the same. Under normal circumstances, a bottle of mysterious energy filter can only replenish about 70% of a yellow stage martial artist's internal force. Moreover, if you take too much of the mysterious energy filter, the side effects of the medicine will also remain in the meridians. Therefore, he couldn't take too much in a short period of time. But the mysterious energy filter refined with the Spring Snow skill is catalyzed and purified by the Tian Mo Qin's zither sound. Not to mention the fact that the mysterious energy filter can replenish more internal force. The most important thing is that its side effects on the meridians and qi have also been reduced to a minimum. After cultivating in the space for a few days, Mayan casually strolls around the store. However, he found that Chen Qingfeng was frowning. Chapter 100. As soon as he sees Mayan, Chen Qingfeng immediately comes over in shame. Hanging his head, he says, Miss June, I'm sorry, I'm too useless. You spent a lot of money to buy this shop, but my shop can't make money for you at all. Instead, it's making you lose money. In fact, Mu Yin simply doesn't care about the income of these medicine shops. After all, she has the entire property of Jin Hongmin in her hands. But seeing Chen Qingfeng's distressed expression, she faintly smiles and says, It doesn't matter. I'm just looking for a place to sell the drafts that I've refined. So it turns out that Miss June is an apothecary. Chen Qingfeng immediately says excitedly, Could it be that the draft you gave me to treat insanity and tuberculosis was also refined by you? Although he got the draft from Mayan's hands. But at the beginning, Chen Qingfeng had never thought that the person who would refine the draft would be Mayan. After all, Mayan looks too young. Mu Yin just faintly smiles, declining to comment. Chen Qingfeng promptly asks again, May I ask what kind of drafts you're going to sell in the pharmacy? Mu Yin flips her wrist, and a porcelain bottle appears in her palm. She says lightly, Sell this bottle? Chen Qingfeng carefully and excitedly takes it and examines it. When he sees the name of the draft that Mayan has engraved on it, he is dumbfounded. This is the mysterious energy filter? Chen Qingfeng blinked and said hesitantly that, Miss June, are you mistaken? Mysterious energy filter is the most basic draft. Any apothecary can refine it, and we also have it in our pharmacy. That's right, in Chen Qingfeng's Qianji medicine hall, there was almost no medicine refiner that could be successfully refined, only ordinary medicinal ingredients. This was also the reason why almost no one came here. After all, eating ordinary medicinal herbs wouldn't bring much benefit. Of course, it has to be refined into a draft. Only then can it have the best effect on a practitioner. But it's not like there's no draft in Chunji's drugstore. Like the mysterious energy filter, Qingxin powder, these kinds of most common and cheapest drafts, he would still take in a portion from time to time. Mayan carelessly says, "That's right. I asked you to sell this mysterious energy filter." Chen Qingfeng is even more dumbfounded. Only one bottle of mysterious energy filter? Are you kidding me? Not only are they selling the lowest level drafts, but there's only one bottle. There are still more than a dozen bottles of mysterious energy filters in the store's current stock. Mu Yen nods, unquestionable. Sell one bottle. The expression on Chen Qingfeng's face was twisted. He cautiously asks, "Then Miss June, how do you think this draft should be priced?" This time, Mu Yin revealed a hesitant expression. Because she also didn't know how to price this new mysterious energy filter that she had refined herself. "Baby, how much do you think Nyang Qin should charge for this mysterious energy filter?" Thus, Mu Yin lowers her head and asks her baby son. Xiaobao raised his little head and looked at Mu Yin with his bright eyes, but he also revealed a blank expression. Xiaobao also had no concept of money. Mayan's eyes turn, and she suddenly has a bright idea. There's a way. As she spoke, she took out a die from her bosom and handed it to Xiaobao. "Baby, you throw it. We'll sell it for as many gold coins as you throw it." Chapter 101. Chen Qingfeng is dumbfounded. This, isn't the price of all mysterious energy filters the same? Since when can you use a die to set the price? The die grumbles as it spins, finally stopping at one point. Xiao Bao looks at that lone dot, unhappily wrinkling his dashing eyebrows. Too cheap. The draft that Nyang Qin refines is so good, but it's only sold for this price. Chen Qingfeng promptly says with a smile, 100 gold coins is already a lot. The market price of mysterious energy filters is just like that. Even the most famous, Hongxing drugstore in Xi'an, with a mid-level apothecary overseeing it, can only sell a bottle of mysterious energy filter for 200 gold coins at most. At this time, he is already 100% sure that the draft that Mayan gave him to treat his mother's insanity and tuberculosis must have been purchased from outside. But it's also because of this that Chen Qingfeng feels that Mayan is willing to spend a lot of money to buy the draft for him to treat his mother. He should repay this benefactor even more, and must not let her down. Even if the mysterious energy filters that Miss June refines aren't good enough, he will definitely help sell them. Xiaobao coldly shoots him a glance. Those beautiful blue eyes that look extremely similar to Mayan's are now filled with contempt. It's as if what Chen Qingfeng just said is a big joke. Chen Qingfeng has an inexplicable look on his face, and is just about to ask, then he hears an icy childish voice say, "Who told you it's 100 gold coins?" Then how much is it?" 10,000 gold coins. Chen Qingfeng stumbles, and his head hits the table. But he simply doesn't care about the pain, and promptly straightens up. "Young master, don't joke around. This is the lowest level of mysterious energy filters, 10,000 gold coins for one. Even the Heavenly Road sect of Huang Yao wouldn't dare to sell it like this. You're not mistaken, are you?" Saying that, he looks at Mayan for help, hoping that she can correct Xiao Bao's wrong concept of money. Mayan hugs Xiao Bao and kisses him, beaming, "Baby, we'll sell it for whatever price you say. But Miss June, this can't be sold at all. The other mysterious energy filters in the store only sell for 100 gold coins." Mayan leisurely thinks to herself, "It doesn't matter. You can price this mysterious energy filter separately and sell it separately. If someone wants to buy it, you can sell it. If no one wants to buy it, I won't settle the score with you." How could anyone buy this? Chen Qingfeng couldn't help but want to wail. Buying a bottle of mysterious energy filter for 10,000 gold coins, isn't that a fool? He wanted to persuade her again, but Xiaobao shot him a cold glance. Her small mouth opened slightly, and she spat out 2 words, "Idiot." Chen Qingfeng froze. Mu Yin knocks her son's head. "Don't be rude to Uncle Chon." Xiaobao wrinkles his little nose and says with a snort, "How could it be an ordinary draft that Nyang Qin refined? If you don't even know this, then what are you if not an idiot?" Mu Yin is tickled by her son's tsundere look, and she can't help but pinch his chubby little face. A blush flashed across Xiao Bao's handsome face, and then it immediately became cold again. Chen Qingfeng, on the other hand, was confused and wanted to ask. Mother Chen's voice came from the back door. Just do what Miss June tells you to do. Why do you have so much nonsense? Being reprimanded by his mother, Chen Qingfeng doesn't dare to say anything more. On the other side, Mother Chen has already brought out the steamed buns that she just made, and warmly invites Mu Yin and Xiao Bao to enjoy them. Chapter 102. Ah, you're welcome. Xiao Bao is so sensible. Xiao Bao turns his head and immediately brings the steamed bun to Mayan's mouth. Nyang Chini. Mu Yin lowers her head and takes a bite, smiling like a flower. The buns are really delicious. Xiao Bao also wants to eat. Only then did the little fellow bring the bun to his mouth and eat it like a little squirrel. Even when he was eating, Xiao Bao's handsome little face was cold and expressionless. However, that appearance was indescribably adorable and obedient, and could practically melt the hearts of all hardened hearts. Mother Chen couldn't help but exclaim, "Miss June, the relationship between you and your son is so good." When they snuggled together, everything else in the world seemed to stop. As long as there was a mother and son, it was already better than countless things in the world. Mu Yin lowers her head and kisses Xiao Bao's head, her expression gentle. Xiao Bao is the best gift the heavens have given me. Xiao Bao looks up at Mu Yin, his blue eyes as bright as stars. The next day, the third day, Junji Drugstore, is still deserted from beginning to end. There are only flies flying around the counter. By the way, a few days ago, Chun Family's drugstore has officially changed its name to Junji Drugstore. Moreover, it was changed under the strong request of Chen Qingfeng and Ani Chun. According to Ani Chun, they have already taken advantage of Mayan. Now that the pharmacy was Mayan's, of course, it couldn't be called Chin's pharmacy anymore. Otherwise, it would be no different from not giving it to Mayan. Mu Yin can't dissuade them, so she can only let them change it. On the third day, Chen Qingfeng was sitting in front of the counter, worrying. Suddenly, he heard noisy voices and messy footsteps coming towards his shop. Tianda Xiao, are we really going to buy the mysterious energy filter in this shabby little pharmacy? Why don't we go to Hongsheng Pharmacy? This store looks a little too shabby. Humph, don't you know that our young master Tian has a grudge against the young master of Hongsheng Medicine Hall? If we buy medicine from him, won't we be slapping ourselves in the face? As they spoke, a group of people walked into the shop. There were a total of 5 people in this group, and the leader was a young man dressed in blue. He couldn't be considered handsome, but his eyes were like lightning, making people not dare to stare at him. He said impatiently, "All right, what are you arguing about? Isn't it just buying some mysterious energy filters? It's the same no matter where you buy it." Tian Daxiao is right. No matter how good the mysterious energy filter is, it will only have that kind of effect. Don't tell me that Hongsheng Drugstore can sell mysterious energy filters for a lot of money. When Chen Qingfeng saw these people, his spirit was immediately shaken, and he quickly got up to greet them. He was at the early stage of the profound stage, but he couldn't tell the cultivation of any of the 5 people in front of him. Therefore, these people were at least mystic stage middle rank and above. An ancient martial art practitioner with such a cultivation would usually be more extravagant in his spending. "Dear customers, may I know what kind of medicinal ingredients you would like to buy?" A short man next to the blue-clothed youth says, "Take out all the mysterious energy filters in your store for our Tianda Xiao. We'll buy as many as you have." All right. Once Chen Qingfeng hears that it's actually such a big business, he immediately smiles from ear to ear. "Customer, please wait a moment. I'll immediately go and take out the mysterious energy filters." The price of the mysterious energy filters in our shop is 100 gold coins per bottle. We guarantee that we will not cheat anyone. Soon, all the mysterious energy filters in the store are placed on the counter. There were only a few dozen bottles in total. Chapter 103. Chen Qingfeng blushes to his ears. Their shop is small, and their profits are meager. Even the mysterious energy filter costs him a lot, so he doesn't dare to buy too much. He says shamefully, "I'm really sorry, this is all the mysterious energy filters in this shop." Just as he finishes speaking, he hears the little man loudly say, "What's that bottle? Isn't it mysterious energy filter written on it?" The little man is astonishingly pointing at the mysterious energy filter that Mayan had refined. Chun Qingfeng coughs lightly and says, "This is indeed a mysterious energy filter, but it's a special mysterious energy filter refined by our shop owner, so the price is relatively high." Relatively high price? It's just a mysterious energy filter. How high could the price be? The little man mutters as he moves closer to take a look at the price tag. His eyes immediately go round, incredulously saying, "Are you kidding me? 10,000 gold coins for a mysterious energy filter? Why don't you just rob a bank?" In fact, Chen Qingfeng also wants to agree with their idea, but he still smiles and says, "Our owner has instructed us to do so. If you don't like it, you can also not buy it." 10,000 gold coins? Hee. Interesting. The blue-clothed youth suddenly opens his mouth. This young master would like to see what kind of flower your 10,000 gold coins mysterious energy filter can produce. Humph. If you try it, and this mysterious energy filter is only an ordinary product, don't blame this young master for smashing your broken shop when I come back. With that, the blue-clothed youth throws a bag of gold coins, picks up the mysterious energy filter, and leaves. Before the short man left, he glanced at Chun Qingfeng with a sinister smile. "Smelly brat, you still don't know the identity of Tiandashao? Tiandashao is the youngest son of the city lord. You've eaten a bear's heart and a leopard's gall, even daring to blackmail Tiandashao. Your shitty Junji drugstore, just wait for it to close down." With that, the little man swaggers away, leaving Chen Qingfeng in the same place with a face full of panic. He's so anxious that he's about to grab his hair. However, when he hurriedly reports the matter to Mayan. In exchange, Mayan only smiles lazily and leisurely. If he bought it, then he bought it. What's there to panic about? But that person is the city lord's son, Tian Yongjin. If, all right, we'll deal with whatever comes our way. What's there to worry about? Mu Yin casually tossed a porcelain bottle into Chun Qingfeng's hands. "Here, this is the replenishment." As for the price, she looked at her son. Xiaobao expressionlessly took out the die and tossed it again. This time, the die stopped at 4. Mu Yin is all smiles as she says, "Amen. Then this mysterious energy filter will be priced at 40,000 gold coins. So it's happily decided." Chen Qingfeng almost fainted. Heavens! Even if a bottle of mysterious energy filter was sold for 10,000 gold coins, now it had unexpectedly risen to 40,000 gold coins. And happily decided. How could he be happy? What if the shop was really smashed? No, even if young Master Tian really wanted to take revenge, he had to shoulder all the responsibility. "I can't let Miss June get hurt." Chun Qingfeng grabbed his hair and walked away with a frown. Little Bao watched him leave and spat out another word coldly. "Idiot." The next day, Chun Qingfeng opens the shop on time. The shop still doesn't have a single customer, but Chun Qingfeng is full of panic. From time to time, he would look outside the door, for fear of seeing young Master Tian's flustered and exasperated figure running over to seek revenge. Who knows what he thinks will come true? Chapter 104. Who would have thought that it would come? Just after noon, he sees a group of people rolling into the Junji drugstore like a gust of wind. Leading them is Tian Yongjin, the one who bought the mysterious energy filter yesterday. His expression is agitated, his eyes are red, and he has an extremely furious look on his face. As soon as he enters the shop, he slaps the counter loudly, his voice even slightly trembling because of extreme excitement. "Mysterious energy filter. Yesterday's mysterious energy filter." Chun Qingfeng inwardly cries, "It's over. Tiandashao has really come to settle accounts." His face is deathly pale, he's shivering with fear, but he still clenches his teeth and says, "Tiandashao, yesterday I made a mistake. I made a mistake in the price of the mysterious energy filter. It has nothing to do with my boss. Less of your fucking nonsense." Tian Yongjin bellows. With great difficulty, he catches his breath and says urgently, "Yesterday's special mysterious energy filter. Give this little grandpa. Pack it all up." This little grandpa will buy it all. Tianda Xiao, I'm willing to compensate you double the price of that mysterious energy filter. Please be magnanimous. Hey, wait. Chen Qingfeng's voice comes to an abrupt halt, his eyes widening as he says, Tianda Xiao, what did you just say? Didn't you want to return the special mysterious energy filter? And didn't you want to settle accounts with our Junji drugstore? Return what return? This little grandpa wants to buy all the special mysterious energy filters in your shop. Hurry up and give it to me. Chen Qingfeng is in a trance. He doesn't know what day it is today. His mind even flashes with the thought that Tian Yongjin might have been cheated stupid. If he wasn't stupid, why would he buy a mysterious energy filter for 10,000 gold coins, and then run back to buy a second one? He looks sluggish as he takes the second mysterious energy filter that Mayan gave him yesterday from the cabinet and hands it to Tian Yongjin. Xiao, thank you for your kindness. 40,000 gold coins? What? 40,000 gold coins? Tian Yongjin scowls. Wasn't it only 10,000 gold coins yesterday? Why did the price increase today? You're not trying to swindle me, are you? It's only now that Chen Qingfeng has somewhat returned to his senses. He shakes his head like a rattle drum. Tianda Xiao, this special mysterious energy filter is refined by our boss, and the price is also set by the boss. Every day the price may be different. You ask this lowly one. This lowly one also has no way. All right, 40,000 gold coins it is. It's not that I can't afford it. Tian Yongjin waved his hand impatiently. But how is one bottle enough? Go and take out all the stock in the store. Chen Qingfeng swallowed his saliva. But the owner only gave me one bottle. Therefore, in our entire pharmacy, we only have this one bottle of the special mysterious energy filter. What a joke. Tian Yongjin was furious. Who the hell is your boss? She doesn't even give face to my Tian family. Go and call her out. Chen Qingfeng's face was full of awkwardness, and he hesitated for a moment. At this moment, another man's voice comes from the door. Tianda Xiao doesn't want this special mysterious energy filter. I want it. Hearing this voice, Tian Yongjin's already unsightly complexion immediately darkens. He turns his head to look at the newcomer and says through gritted teeth, Wang Jiaqin, why are you here? The newcomer is dressed in dark blue, and he's waving a folding fan in his hand. He has a confident and elegant appearance. Chen Qingfeng recognizes this person, and he immediately shows a shocked expression when he sees him. You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.